build a smart football team, that we have a smart football team here. And I know we have the people in place to do that. The first part of that, the first part of being smart is knowing what to do. We're gonna have systems in place that are easier to learn. All right, complicated to the defense or offense that they're going against, or the special teams group they're going against, but easy for us to learn. Because when we can put that, when we can learn our system and we can get good at our system, then our talent can take over. Less thinking equals talent take over, but we need to have systems in place, and we will have systems in place to do so. Next thing.
What? Hopefully easier to do than to say. What the heck was that? That was Nick Sirianni, the new head football coach of your Philadelphia Eagles, on a wacky weekend. Even though there weren't any games in the National Football League, it was your gap week between championship weekend and Super Bowl weekend. What's good, y'all? Happy February. That's right. February. You're waking up in February for the first time. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610 The Sports Animal, also seen on ProView Networks. Jeff Siembieda, JJ Buck. I heard Josh back there. I think I saw Jay Pohl on the TV side. What's good, man? How was the weekend?
Weekend was good. What it do? And usually it should be pretty easy to win the introductory press conference and not sound that difficult.
Yeah. Look, this was if you're an Eagle fan, you're just going, wait a minute. What did we just do? This is our guy. He can't even explain what it is he's trying to do, let alone go out and do what it is he's trying to do, and somehow we'll get there. What a weird weekend. Your biggest story on the weekend is going to be trades. It's going to be trades in the Major League Baseball. It's going to be trades in the National Football League. It's going to be, well, I guess it'll be Lobo basketball and Aggie basketball as well. Rough weekend for the college basketball teams around here. The Lobos lose on the road, 65-55 in Fresno. They are 1-11 in conference play, and here come the Aztecs. Ladies lose to Fresno State in Canyon, Texas, 91-69. Aggies are 65-53 losers in Phoenix to Grand Canyon. Chris Jans said it, and he said it without perspective, but he says we're going into February without a Division I win. If you'd have told me that back in the summer, I'd have told you to get your head checked. Obviously, they played 3 Division I teams. Cal State Northridge was that come from a head loss, and then starting out with everything that's gone on with the 2 losses to Grand Canyon. So not a good weekend for local basketball, JJ, and in a state that thrives on its college basketball. This was rough. You get a feeling that the Aggies have an opportunity to still turn things around. They played 3 games in basically 2 months. Lobos just struggled again in Fresno.
Yeah, for New Mexico State, it's a sense of, so this whole practice and playing games thing really does matter. And they've been on multiple pauses in their program for positive tests. So they've been off the basketball court a lot over the 2 months of only playing the 3 Division I games. And you saw it over the weekend in the 2 losses at Grand Canyon by 8 and then by 12 on Saturday, and Friday, Saturday, back-to-back schedule for the Western Athletic Conference. And it's a team that you just tell needs time to figure out who they are, to figure out who's going to be able to step up on this roster. Of course, we know the injuries. Jabari Rice, their best player, still not available. He got hurt at the beginning of all of this, and it was just evident watching that team of, you realize New Mexico State can be better. They just haven't got the opportunity to even get to that first starting point, really, for the team and figure out what they are.
Grand Canyon is a team who is now 12-3 and looks like, at this point, the best team in the Western Athletic Conference. And assuming that there are conference tournaments, it's funny, we listened and had this conversation with Leon Rice, the Boise State coach, a couple weeks ago about getting rid of conference tournaments or at least shortening them. You get the feeling still, let New Mexico State get into some of the WAC play, let them play the Tarletons and the Dixie States and some of those other teams. And you figure they're going to be all right by the time we hit March and there is a conference tournament. And so a conference tournament would benefit them, would it not? Where for Lobo basketball, you just think, all right, just another, what are we doing? But you got to get a feeling, at least they get the benefit of the doubt now because you haven't seen them, because they played 3 Division I teams. They're 0-2 in conference. They're 1 what are they overall? 2-3. They just haven't played any games because of the COVID. So, JJ, when you watch them a little bit, you see potential, and you see, like to your point, Jabari Rice is coming back, or at least we think he is, and you see something. When you look at the Lobos, do you see something? Do you feel better? After the two closer, 10 is still double digits, but the close loss, the 2-point overtime loss on Thursday in Fresno, do you feel better about the Lobos? Because here comes San Diego State, and San Diego State is just punishing teams right now. They're up by, it looks like every game they're up by 30, well, not doesn't look like, in their last four, they're up by 30 or 40 points, sometimes 50 in every game they play against. That was Air Force and Wyoming.
Yeah, it's definitely the tale of two teams at different places. And my comment about Jabari Rice is, yeah, he played over the weekend, but he also is starting at square one, coming back from the foot injury with a basketball team that is pretty much at square one. Like, this was like a season opener pretty much for New Mexico State, this series against Grand Canyon. And so we still think that, yeah, there's a level that Aggie team can get to even in a short amount of time, heading up to what we hope would be conference tournament time for these teams. And for New Mexico, it's the story of the year. It's more of the same against comparable opponents in Mountain West play. It's close, but yet so far away. We saw it firsthand with the overtime game on Thursday, and then on Saturday it was one where you have your moments, you're defending hard at times, but the offensive droughts get you against a team that's just able to find a few more buckets, especially in that second half. What we saw Fresno State able to do, because the Lobos contained Orlando Robinson. They took away what has been Fresno State's best player. Fortunately, it was some guards that were able to step up in this series, and that really was the difference when it came down to it. Looking, all right, who's going to make some plays late? Fresno State got that a little more consistently than New Mexico.
Yeah, and in fact, Lobos rebounded Fresno State. Offensive rebounds, they were really actually very good. They didn't convert those into a lot of points, but they rebounded, especially on the offensive glass, very well. Your point on Jabari Rice from New Mexico State, 35 minutes, he scored 11 points, 4 of 7 shooting, to go with 3 rebounds for the Aggies as he gets his way back into it, coming back off of the injury. All right, we got a lot to do today. 505-246-0610. That's how to get to us today. It's 505-246-0610. Your emails come in, Jeff at 610knml.com, JJ at 610knml.com. You had a ladies game early on Saturday as well. Ladies got beat 91-69 by Fresno State. So after beating Fresno State by a couple on Thursday, the Bulldogs came back and put a whooping on the ladies. What was the difference on Saturday for the Lady Lobos?
You could see it throughout the game that Fresno State was crisper defensively. The Lobos could not get stops. And while they survived for a while, you had this feeling that Fresno State could flip this game around because UNM wasn't doing anything defensively and none of their shots were falling from the perimeter once again. And then you saw that in the fourth quarter. At one point, Fresno State went on a 22-2 run and just took complete control of the game. And Mike Bradbury said there was a point in the third quarter, it was a 3-point game, and he took a timeout, and he sensed, like, this is the turning point. Like, this game could get away from us, and unfortunately it did. And it was the difference between a team that won the league last year, returned the core of their players that are just a year better. And so the Lobos know they can play with Fresno State. They just did it on Thursday. But it's getting to that everyday consistency of what it's going to take to be a contender. And you could just tell right off the bat, the passes that they were hitting on Thursday, they were getting deflected. You know, Fresno State was much better in their zone. They were taking away the post. They were getting in those passing lanes. And it's one where, all right, it's back to work. You know what it takes to play with this team, but now you got to figure out how to do it, daily in these little 2-game series.
Lady Lobos in a much better spot right now as far as the standings are concerned than the men are. And next up for them, San Diego State, a team in San Diego State, by the way, who's given them real fits the last couple of years.
Yeah, and San Diego State's one where, looking at them this season, I'm surprised at how much they've just struggled overall. They cannot score the basketball. Now, it's been, as you said, a tough matchup for New Mexico, but you run down their roster, they have talented players. They have highly recruited players all across the board, but it hasn't been clicking. So this is one where the Lobos Definitely feel good about their offense. This is one where their defense needs to show up because the Aztecs have not been scoring. And if they score in this series, then you know that's going to be an issue for this UNM team all year long.
You got an issue. All right, let's get started on the phones. 505-246-0610. Dan, you're up first. Good morning, Dan. How you living?
Good morning, Jeffrey.
How you doing, Daniel?
What's happening? Hey, JJ. Good morning.
Morning.
Hey, man, I'm vertical. After a procedure, I'm back in the saddle, brother.
Good. I'm glad you're well.
Yeah, man, headed down the road. So here's my take. Those games are hard to watch, right? They're just so hard to watch from what we're used to. Here's my advice to Coach Weir. I mean, at this point, we know what's coming up. San Diego State, the beast. JJ said defense. I mean, the defense has got to step up big time, and this has got to be the hardest fought game you guys have done all season. I mean, you need to tell the guys, you know what? Even if these guys are going to smash us, we need them to remember who they played. And at the end of the game, you need to make sure that those guys are a little bit beat up or a lot beat up. Go in there and hammer them, get the fouls. You just cannot go in there and be the complacent little, sheep that they're leading to slaughter. I mean, they got to get in there and hammer a couple of those guys right away and say, hey, you know what? We're here. Get used to it. So I just think they need to pull their shorts up, man, tighten up those drawstrings, and really get with it as far as physical toughness. I don't know if they have it, but they need to go in that direction. That's the only thing that's going to make them feel good. And you know what? On any given Sunday, bro, you never know what's going to happen. And then, Jeff, you lost your boy Goff, huh?
Yep. That's coming up next. But yeah, it's the first blockbuster trade.
How you feeling about that?
Well, I feel like it's an upgrade.
Problem?
Well, I feel like it's an absolute upgrade at quarterback. I just feel like the Rams gave up a whole lot to make that upgrade, and I'm wondering if it was worth all that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, guys, you guys have a wonderful week, man, and
all right, be well, Dan.
Like Jeff says, loving, caring, and sharing. Later, guys.
All right, see you, Dan. Be well. All right, well, JJ, we must break, but when we come back, we'll talk about the first blockbuster trade in the NFL's offseason. We're going to get into, I think, a blockbuster trade in Major League Baseball, don't you think? When one of the best third basemen, and I think ever, gets traded, and you pay the team to take him off your hands?
For nothing.
Nothing. We got to talk about that too, don't we? What did the Rockies do? We knew it was coming, kind of, but for what? 505-246-0610. When we come back, we'll get into the NFL trade. It's Super Bowl week, but the talk was about a team that lost to the Super Bowl 2 years ago. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Titus and Tate, a podcast.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network. The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Call it as Javi's looking, and he's got a guy wide open, and it's Gay, and he's gonna walk into the end zone. But he did a good job with it. First and goal, it's Chavez to the middle, and Chavez stops.
And Stevens in motion. On the handoff to Mitchell. Look out! Oh, see you later. Take it to the house. Fly. Cardinals fly. To the other side. Provide some protection. And off to Webskowski again. Look out. See you later. Good night. Touchdown. Webskowski. All day. He's going to fire to the end zone. Open man! Touchdown! Wildcat! Not a defender inside. A little bit. Skowski on the sideline! Asta Manana! He's off to the races! Touchdown! Clovis!
Albuquerque this afternoon.
34-24 Rancho. Late in the third. How about this run? Nice play. Dickerman, he's still on his feet. Touchdown, Wolverine.
Exactly what they want to get yards.
He's going to go for it. He's got a guy towards the end zone.
Which trade do you want to start with? It's your call. You want to go baseball, you want to go football?
With the swap of former #1 overall picks in the NFL.
Let's play football. Let's play football. Saturday evening, it came down. My phone went bonkers, man. We're watching some movie, and my phone goes bonkers as the Rams acquire Matthew Stafford from the Detroit Lions. We knew Matthew Stafford was on the market. Matthew Stafford's 32, relatively cheap with a couple of years left on his deal. We knew that the Rams were unhappy with Jared Goff, and you could just read the language and literally read the language coming out of their head coach and their general manager. Jared Goff is our quarterback for now. So obviously this has been in motion. Rams were obviously probably interested in Deshaun Watson as well as they were interested in Matthew Stafford or whatever else is out there. Rams give up Jared Goff, the #1 pick in 2016, along with their 3rd-round pick this year and their 1st-round pick the next 2 years. So it costs them 2 firsts, a 3rd, and a franchise quarterback, although many of you don't believe Goff is a franchise quarterback. JJ, some of my Ram friends are losing their mind, telling me it's the worst trade in the history of the franchise. Others are telling me it's a Herschel Walker type deal. I'm not is losing my mind over the extremities of it. Now I'm like as a Ram fan, I look at it and I'm like, last time they had a 1st-round pick was when they picked this guy. They trade all their picks away. They got one for Brandon Cooks and one for Jalen Ramsey. The Rams, for whatever reason, don't believe they need 1st-round picks. They're obviously in win-now mode, right? That's what this is all about. The Rams believe that with the team as currently constructed, if they would have had Matthew Stafford as their quarterback, maybe they'd be in the Super Bowl. I mean, that's the sign. That's what this is telling you. That they firmly believe they are a quarterback away from going to the Super Bowl. That maybe they would have beaten Green Bay. I'm not sure I believe that. Or been in a better position. I do believe that. Here's my deal. and I'd love your take on this. I do believe it is. Buddy of mine's like, it's not an upgraded quarterback. Stafford's not better than Goff. Yeah, he is. Stafford's better than Goff. Well, what has Stafford ever done? He's gone to playoff 3 times. He's never won a play. I got it. Rams are better than the Lions. Stafford's a better quarterback than Goff. Was it worth that? Like, if you'd have told me the Rams traded Goff, 2 firsts and a third, I would have said they got Deshaun Watson. Like, when we were talking the other day about what the haul is going to be for Deshaun Watson, I'd have thought they got Deshaun Watson at that point.
Well, here's the thing. Deshaun Watson is probably going to cost a little bit more now. That was everyone's initial reaction. Yeah. What you have to take into account is Detroit threw in that got that extra first-round pick to take on Jared Goff's contract. So this isn't just a straight up, oh my gosh, why didn't you make this trade for Deshaun Watson? Because I'm pretty certain that if Houston moves on, they don't want to take on the first year of a $100 million quarterback deal for someone that they're not sold on. So this was straight up. We knew Detroit had made the decision. Matthew Stafford was on the market. The Detroit Lions' new general manager was the director of college scouting for the Rams. So he is obviously comfortable with Jared Goff. So there's a sense of, okay, we like this guy enough. We'll get 2 first-round picks. We'll get an extra one in this deal, which I'm have to have this feeling because it felt like one could get this done. The second one had to be just to guarantee, all right, you're taking on the 4 years, $134 million remaining on this guy's contract. And to the point of the Rams, will it come back to hurt them? At some point, it could, but guess what? They have an established foundation. And so they've been making all these trades after they know that they have a core that can win football games. So they've been trading their first-round picks for known commodities because you have Aaron Donald at the center of that defense. You have Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp on the outside. You have Cam Akers, who you feel, all right, this guy can be a number 1 running back. Jalen Ramsey was acquired for one of those first-round picks. So it's not like they have a lot to do because guess what? You still have second-round pick, right? A third-round pick. Now you're a franchise that's in better position to then go out there and get some veterans potentially on short contracts and say, you want to come in and have a chance to win right now? Look what we just did. Brought Matthew Stafford in. We have the track record over the last few years. So that's why I'm not too concerned about the first-round picks in this because they're an established team and they're not out there having to do so much. Because your point is they feel that the quarterback is the difference. And Matthew Stafford has a higher ceiling than Jared Goff. So I'm fine with this trade. I like this trade a lot if I am the Rams because you obviously lost trust between McVay and Goff. And that front office agreed in that. So you bring in Matthew Stafford. You go on your another run, your push with your established team. And then maybe if ultimately it doesn't work out, well, you have a shorter timeline with Matthew Stafford on the books than Jared Goff.
Look, Matthew Stafford's 32, and I think he's got 5 good years left at playing at that level. Now, is he elite? He's not. And you can dissect why you think he is. Like Matthew Stafford, when we've always talked about those guys, we've always put him on that next shelf, right? We haven't put him on that elite shelf. We put him on the next shelf. Why? Because he hasn't won. Puts up great numbers. He's like a Phillip Rivers kind of a thing. But that team's never ever had a good defense, have they? Detroit, ever. It's the best running back the Lions have had in the last decade and a half.
It could have been that year Reggie Bush ran for 1,000 yards.
Okay, see what I'm saying? Now he's had weapons on the outside. He had Megatron for a while. He's had receivers, and he's put up numbers with those receivers. So it's an upgraded quarterback. I don't know that I feel the jury's out on Goff. Like I don't know that I know what kind of quarterback he's going to be in the National Football League. I think he can improve. He did go to the Super Bowl 2 years ago. I think he's regressed. So, and I don't think he's got confidence. And I think that's the big issue. I think the inconsistency with Jared Goff is the reason he's gone. Some days he's really nice, and some days he's Goffle. And so, like in the immediate, JJ, I'm with you. As a Rams fan, in the immediate, I'm like, all right, let's make a run this year and hope the Niners don't get Deshaun Watson. Right? That's really kind of where I am. Because that division now, you look at the quarterbacks in that division with Russell Wilson and Kyler Murray, now Matthew Stafford, Jim Garoppolo's the guy that you're kind of going, okay. If the Niners get better there, look out. right? So they're really good. If you're Detroit, how do you feel? There's part of me as you're in your rebuild. Well, you know what? At least we're rebuilding with a guy who can play at the NFL level, who's been in the Super Bowl. And I know their fans are losing their mind. God, he's crap, and we're paying so much. You got 2 years to decide if he's your guy. You can draft a quarterback because you've got a pretty high pick. You can go and draft your quarterback in the future and have him sit behind Jared Goff and kind of play the model of let him learn. But yeah, you took on a lot of money. You took on a big salary, and that's why you got that extra number one pick. Like if you're a Lions fan, you're moving on. You knew you were moving on. I don't know that you could have done any better. 2 1s, a 3, and what may end up being a franchise quarterback, and what may not be. I like at least you got a quarterback that you're going into next year. You're not going into next year with one of these guys who've been bouncing around or picking an eighth, a late mid first round pick rookie.
Goff's a good NFL
competent.
Competent. That's the word I was trying to say there. Like, I think franchise. What does it mean by franchise quarterback? Are we substituting franchise for elite? Because Goff is a guy that
no, different things.
Yeah. So Goff was in a great situation, and he showed you he could have peaks, but he also has quite a few valleys in there. So you're not going in, as you say, empty-handed at the quarterback position. And still, if you're Detroit, you're not ruling out if you're in a position of taking a quarterback as well, even with that contract, because this is a restructuring of that organization. So, yeah, they're going to start the season with a guy that at least can give them a chance.
They can go win football games, JJ. They can win games.
Jared Goff, there's no doubt about it. Because I think when I would put Goff, right there, as all right, this is a league average quarterback that can have better moments.
Yes.
And a lot of teams spend years looking for those guys. And so I think this is a great deal ultimately. Would you have liked to get Deshaun Watson? Sure, but you were not really in that market when you look at the contract that you were willing to take on to get this haul for Matthew Stafford, because once again it goes back to the Houston Texans, if they actually get to the point of just trading Deshaun Watson, I don't think they're a team that's looking to take on a $100 million quarterback.
Look,
so this deal, I think, works.
Here's the deal for them. Look at their division. Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in the division. After that, it's Mitchell Trubisky and it's Kirk Cousins. If I'm Detroit, I'm going out there and saying my guy's as good as any other quarterback in that division, right? He's tough. What, Jeff? He's tough. He went to Cal. Did you see the guy play in a playoff game a week after getting 2 pins inserted in his thumb, and then a week later going into Lambeau? And I mean, with all due respect, Jared Goff's not the reason that they lost to the Packers. He's not. He didn't turn the ball over. They got beat by the Packers. Their defense didn't play well. So if I'm Detroit, I'm going to the season saying, you know what, I got a quarterback. Let's see what we got. We got a guy who can win in this league, who's a league, to your point, a league average quarterback. I'll give you half the teams and tell you I think he's better than them, and half the teams he's not. Right? I like my quarterback situation today better than New England and Detroit, and the 2 teams in my division, and Denver, and it's just as good as what they got with the Raiders, and just go down, right? And so, fine, I got a quarterback who I can go with the next couple of years. Let's build a team. If we find a quarterback that we like for the future, I'm down. But look what we just loaded up on picks. Like if I'm Detroit, yeah, I'm paying a lot of money for a quarterback, but I got a quarterback who was a first-round overall pick, a number 1 overall pick. And let me see what he could do, and let's see if we can coach him up and he can get better.
26 years old, you got 2 first-round picks out of it, and it was a situation where Matthew Stafford just ran his course, and I think the franchise did the right thing. Stafford went through a lot, and he battled injury, so you keep your fingers crossed now if you're LA that you can keep him upright and you can keep Matthew Stafford on the football field. And it was a situation that it was okay. Like, it wasn't a bad parting of ways. It just became time. Matthew Stafford still has a little bit left to give. He wanted an opportunity with the new franchise. It was, of course, restructuring in the front office at head coach, and I think the Lions franchise made the right decision to give him this opportunity, and they also came out pretty good themselves with now trying to rebuild that team.
All right, 505-246-0610, 888-922-0610. So what's next? We'll get into that. Also, there was another big trade since last we spoke. This was in baseball involving One of the best third basemen there's ever been. And the Rockies got what for him? It's next to the opening drive on 95.9 FM at AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Second fielder has got 4 points. Watson, though, goes all the way.
Hit the deck, I should say. Cordova tried to throw it off. Romero, a 3 for...
Set out to Jutapia. Nice move behind his back. It's a good... Here's Ramos, step back, high arcing, twine!
But he needed to get his legs back under him.
Ooh, little kick.
They leave it one more time. Two-hand hammer.
Look at this, they're going to go score again. Look at this.
Up top. Yes, and the finish for Akbayosi. Saved into the hands of Riak, ahead of the pack. Davina Lovato up high, down hard for Akbayosi. Out of the corner, Casals, the 3-0, Katenge! Let me clean up the mess! He dropped out of the rafters for that one, Steve.
To create space, he gives it off to Rivas for the 3 and he buries it.
Coming in soon, double quick set for Avalos, goes to the right, Avalos puts it up high, window, scores and is fouled.
Right here by Lewis all the way, coast to coast, and finish. What a...
Around the screen, against White, step back, it's blocked! JB with the block!
And then there's baseball. We think it's going to start at some point. That's a whole nother story. Then there's baseball. Maybe the best third baseman in the history of the game. I know Michael Jack Schmidt was really, really good. But Nolan Arenado was special. Still is special. He's no longer a member of the Colorado Rockies. JJ, not only did the Rockies trade him to the St. Louis Cardinals, they paid, $50 million to give him away, and what they get? A sack of balls and some prospects? It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM at AM 610, the Sports Animal. Work me through this one, because this one I'm having a lot tougher time wrapping my head around than what the Rams did.
Well, an easy way to explain it to people that might not have been following the situation, this is Deshaun Watson with the Houston Texans. Nolan Arenado lost trust in the Colorado Rockies organization and thus found his way out. Now, this was a complicated trade because of the contracts, the opt-outs, the no-trade clause that Arenado had. So Nolan Arenado signed an 8-year, $260 million deal back in 2019, but it included a couple opt-outs, which one of those opt-outs was coming up at the end of this season. And so Colorado was dealing with a frustrated superstar, didn't want to lose him for nothing, but had to then get nothing in return plus $50 million just to get him off their hands now. I think this was handled very poorly by the Colorado Rockies organization. There's definitely an uproar in Denver from Rocky fans. Like, you have people tuning them out saying, why should I trust in this franchise? Sure, you trade big players. We've seen it all the time. Troy Tulowitzki was traded. But this was absolutely one where you didn't even get one guy back in return. They say, no, at least we got a top 10 prospect. There's no top 10 prospects coming back.
What'd they get?
There's a bullpen arm, a 27-year-old bullpen
Gomber?
arm. Gomber.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
Maybe a couple other prospects, but it doesn't look like they're going to be able to get into the top 10 prospect from St. Louis. This is one where the Colorado Rockies come out on the other end in a terrible situation, because who's going to take that money? All right, so you save some money. You're not going to go out and sign a bunch of dudes immediately come to your team. That's not going to be any good now. This was handled very poorly, and it's a team that they seem to be so far away. They made the playoffs in 17 and 18, so it hasn't been that big of a disaster. But in just 1 year, it has turned into that for the Colorado Rockies. There's no trust in Jeff Radish, the general manager. Ownership is now just taking flack like crazy, because it's a thing. Yes, sports took a huge hit last year. It was a hard year for Major League Baseball, and we've seen it play out in free agency. Like, teams are not signing free agents, so it's understandable. But I also don't see a bunch of other baseball teams dropping their superstar player for nothing just because they took a financial hit last year. This is a terrible thing for the Colorado Rockies to get nothing back in return. They're not going to use that money on anything else, and they've alienated a whole heck of a lot of their fans.
Well, you take the financial hit because but you're giving them $50 million in your best player. The alternative would have been you kept him for 2 years and he walks, right? So he uses the opt-out clause. That's what they were worried about, not this after this year, but next year that he opts out and you get nothing. Okay, but you didn't get much anyway. It would have cost you roughly $66 million. He's got 6 years and $199 million left. That averages $33 million a year. So it would have cost you $33 million. You'd have got 2 years worth of him. Lord knows what could have happened in those 2 years. Could you have turned things around? And could you have gotten something? At least a trade deadline deal with somebody gets you more than that, doesn't it? Usually at the trade deadline...
There was no reason this deal had to be done right now. None. Especially with what you gave up, the Rockies did in return, dropping $50 million on top of this deal to help the St. Louis Cardinals out. Like, do you think the Cardinals are an organization that is out there needing a lot of help? It seems to me they're doing a pretty good job. They just got Adam Wainwright back, probably signed Yachty, their veteran presence at the end. You got Paul Goldschmidt on the other side of the diamond. This was an absolute steal for St. Louis.
Outside of the Dodgers, they picked up two of the best players in this division over the last 3 years in Goldschmidt and Arenado. Right now, and next they're going to go after Tatis. Although the Padres are taken, they're not. I mean, the Padres are spending money now. The Padres are going. But I mean, you got a Padre team that's going after the Dodgers. You got the Dodgers who are the Dodgers. You got the Padres going after them. I'm not sure what the Giants are doing, and then the Diamondbacks and the Rockies are just selling off assets and going backwards. This one, when I saw it, I'm like, all right, cool. What are they going to get? They're going to get a haul of prospects, right? You trade a guy like this, you get a haul. That's how it is. This is a young superstar. Look, now that he goes to the Cardinals, people are going to recognize him for what he is. He's one of the best players in baseball. Not just one of the best third basemen in baseball. This is one of the best players in Major League Baseball, has been for the last bunch of years and will be for the next bunch of years. But because he played in Colorado, it's almost out of sight, out of mind. There's not a lot of national presence there. There's not a lot of national games. So and they don't give him the credit for the numbers. Oh, everything in Colorado, even though his road numbers are insane. But he's going to become a freaking superstar in St. Louis. And they got him for nothing, and they got Colorado to pay a quarter of his $200 million left. It's boggling to me. Boggling to me.
It was a failure by the Colorado Rockies handling the Nolan Arenado situation. They failed the team. They failed their fans. They failed that city with this decision. And for Nolan Arenado, the home and road splits for a lot of Rocky players are big because, yes, Coors Field is a hitting park, and the team struggles when they get on the road. The first couple games of road series coming off a home series, it's dramatic for everyone on that roster. That's the biggest challenge, is adjusting to those road series. So guess what? Nolan Arenado goes into, I don't know where. Is it still Busch Stadium?
Yeah, I think they renamed it Busch, the new Busch. Yeah,
the new Busch Stadium. It seems like it's a league average, solid ballpark when you're just looking at offensive numbers overall. So he should still hit fine at home. But what you're going to see, and it's been pointed out, is his road numbers are going to normalize. So maybe he doesn't have as great home numbers, but they're still going to be really good. But his road numbers are going to come up a little bit. So that's the kind of difference you are going to see. So when people start freaking out and doing the lazy baseball analysis on good players from Colorado, going, look at the road splits, he's not any good. Just watch. How's DJ LeMahieu doing with the New York Yankees? You know, that's still an offensive ballpark, but he's doing work on the road.
And by the way, he
happened with Nolan Arenado.
And he became a damn superstar when he left and went to the Yankees, right? I mean, what they've got, what they could have had with LeMahieu and Arenado, and God, you just look at it, and they didn't. They didn't. They had the core of what could have been, and I get it. But if you're going to play in the division with the Dodgers, you can't quit. You got to try to compete, right? Oh, well, they're the Dodgers. They have all this money. Okay. Are you going to become a AAA team, or are you going to try to compete? San Diego's going after them.
Think about what this run should have been. You know, the 17, 18 teams that made the wild card at least, so you're getting somewhere. But you have Arenado, you have Story, you have DJ LeMahieu, you had Marquez. You had young pitchers in that rotation. John Gray bouncing back a little bit. Like, that was the run that this team should have been on. You had the young pitchers you haven't had to pay yet. All right, you invest a little bit in your infield, but there's 3 top 100 baseball players right there in your infield with the best third baseman in the league. And you end up here with 2 of them gone. Trevor Story is probably the next one to go. And who knows how long it's going to be until you get back to being a competitive baseball team with all that you've done to this franchise, and you've got nothing in return. There is nothing from St. Louis that you can say, you know what, at least in a couple of years, 1 or 2 of these guys is going to contribute at the major league level. Nothing.
Gus said, when I saw the Arenado transfer over the weekend, my first question was, how does it impact Albuquerque's baseball team if they're still a team in 2021? I mean, who's there? Who steps up now? Who's their third baseman? Are they coming from? Did they get someone to come up from Albuquerque?
You look at maybe Brendan Rodgers, get your chance over there as long as Trevor Story's there for a little bit. And if Rodgers played some second base, maybe he's there. At third, Josh Fuentes, get an opportunity. He played some first base, but, you know, he did come up as a third baseman in the organization. But there's not a player right now that you're like, that's a replacement. That's the guy that's coming up.
All right, Rocky fan, I know you got to love that, huh? I just did this one boggle my mind. I thought you'd be able to help me feel better about it, but absolutely not. All right, 505-246-0610, 888-922-0610. It is Super Bowl week. We're going to get into that. I got a bunch of emails on Lobo basketball. So we will go there next.
Jeff, I just want to say, so Saturday night, you know how Jim Rome always says he roots for stories?
Yeah.
And, like, not teams. That was one moment where I wished it was that easy for me. Where I was like, you know what? I just pull back and let's just talk about sport. That was one of those trades that when it came down, I was like, what am I doing? Like, why do I root for this specific baseball team when they make decisions like this?
I get it. That's one of those where you just, why? Like, couldn't I have done better than that? We're going to give them our best player, and we're going to give them $50 million, and they're giving us what? Oh, our best player is still under contract for 6 more years. But yeah, he can opt out in 2. So here, take our best player, our franchise player, one of the best in the game. I'll give you $50 million too. And can I have that bullpen arm?
Maybe they got some season tickets out of it too. I don't know.
Ooh, and some Busch beer. It's the Natty Light. Maybe they got unlimited cases of Natty Light on the opening drive.
Hide it over there, Workhorse Field. We can't say we like this stuff.
Oh, that's right. It's total competitor. It's like you can't even take their beer. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Creates space. He gives it off to Rivas for the three, and he buries it.
They'll be coming in soon. Double pick set for Avalos. Goes to the right. Avalos puts it up high. Window. Scores it as foul.
Right here by Lewis all the way, coast to coast, and finish. What a...
Around the screen. Against White. Step back. It's blocked. JB with the block.
In transition. Ahead to hit on. Hit on for the two-hand hammer.
Seconds to go. They've got a shot. They have a chance. And it's put up. And it's good. What a three that is by Jalen.
Hito puts it up.
Rebound Cowboys. Right side David Hall. Thank you very much. Here come the Cowboys. Domino Lovato lays it up. Missed it. Hey, how about it? Thank you, Lusses. Thank you very much, Raquan Mitchell. Clock at 6. They get it. Barnes Tompkins fires. Yes! Pass up court. This for the win. Blocked by DJ Bustos. Cowboys win. Cowboys win.
Ramos, rise and fire. He's fouled.
You know, he used to coach for Del Norte. And
here's Voss all the way with the finish. He'll get the... Behind the back of the dribble. Tries to go up with the right hand. He changed hands in midair. And hotting it. Sent it away. Wynn doing a really good job denying Chavez. BC hasn't got the ball. Oh, Yeku. Oh. Working against Watson. Oh, look at the spin move.
ball's loose. DJ Bustos brings it up. Barnes Tompkins, alley-oop. How about it? That was redunculous.
Cable to the big fella, might try to jam one home.
Off the clock. Fresno State wins it. Final score, Bulldogs 65, Lobos 55.
Robert Portnoy on the UNM Sports Network. 65-55. The final score from Fresno, the Save Mart Center. So UNM is now 1-11 in conference play. Aztecs go to Lubbock to play the Lobos later this week, and San Diego State's been just shredding fools lately. If you watch any of their Air Force and Wyoming series, JJ, it's been offensively what they do. Now, they've been doing so much San Diego State has with their defense leading to offense, but the Air Force games were startling at times where they were up, I want certainly by 30, and I think by 40 in both games and 50 in one of them. And then Wyoming, they were up by 40 in the first, up by 30 in the second. They're scoring the ball. They're shooting the ball well. The Air Force games were at altitude. They were up at Clune. The Wyoming games were in San Diego. This will be in Texas. They're running into a team that's playing as well as anyone right now. Granted, they got swept by Utah State at San Diego State. Matt Mitchell was out in the second game. And then they lost that one game where they came from ahead by 26 and lost to Colorado State. You take the Colorado State game out because I think that was an anomaly. And they lost the two up in Logan. I don't know if you think they're the best team in this league. We're going to find out the last series against Boise State. But everybody's talking about Boise State and Colorado State and Utah State. I still think San Diego State's going to have something to say before it's all done about winning this league.
Yeah, so the conversation about this upcoming series versus New Mexico, you look at Wyoming and Air Force to get a sense of it and not Boise State and Utah State. Because, yeah, San Diego State is in that conversation. With those four teams, you throw in Colorado State as that could win this conference. Because how about that series, by the way, the CSU-BSU series, and what happened there? Boise State coming back and winning Game 2 85-77 back up in Fort Collins on Friday night. But, yeah, just 31.5. That's what San Diego State has won the last four games by, beating Wyoming Air Force. 31.5 points. Right. And how did it start for the Lobos when they played the top teams in the conference? You look at Boise State and Utah State. They lost those games by 25 points per game. So that, unfortunately, gives you a sense of where this series could go.
Yeah, that's what's coming. It's the opening drive. Jeff Siembieda and JJ Buck. Micah produces on the radio side. It's Jay Pohl and Josh. On the TV side, you can watch the show on our Facebook page, the OD and the AM, and on YouTube, ProView Network's page. JJ, let me read you, because I got a bunch of emails already in on Lobo basketball. This one is from John. It says, well, guys, otro loss, we're going to go Spanglish here. Otro loss, he wasn't that pretty, even though they did show a bit more hustle on defense, but also had several breakdowns, which led to easy baskets for Fresno. But before you say anything about the disparity of free throws, remember, they made the front end of several one-and-ones to earn the bonus shot. Another player opts out, and I just found out all of our assistant coaches had losing records as head coaches and fired before coming here. So is this what UNM basketball has descended to? What a train wreck. It's from John. All right, so just because you have a losing record as a head coach doesn't mean you're a bad coach. This was kind of the coordinator conversation we had the other day. I think Dave Pilipovich is a hell of a coach. I think what he did at Air Force was terrific. I think he's a good coach. It feels like Scott Padgett's a good coach. They did have another player opt out. Nolan Dorsey said, what was it, Saturday before the game, that he is transferring. So you've got two players opt out. You know, there's part of me that wants to say this is an odd season. They're going through genuine, crazy, above odds circumstances. I don't know what the opt-out level is at other programs. I don't believe I've seen anybody opt out at New Mexico State. I don't know that I've heard of any others, but that doesn't mean they aren't there. The Nolan Dorsey piece, did that concern you when you heard that?
It didn't concern me, but I know it just adds another layer to frustration that a lot of fans have about this program over the last few years, and just player retention and just developing players. And there's another chance to develop a player that goes away. Yeah, Nolan Dorsey hadn't been playing a lot, but he's a freshman that he recruited, gave a scholarship to, and figured, all right, we'll see if he can be a part of the program for the next few years. And I will go back to your point. You don't get assistant coaches with winning records usually then, because they're probably still going to be a head coach somewhere. So that doesn't concern me, that you have an assistant coach who might not have been a great head coach, but doesn't mean you are going to be a bad assistant coach.
Sometimes you're in a tough situation. Give me a coach at Air Force ever, and maybe is it Jeff Bizdelic, maybe, who's had a winning record in their career. Yeah. Like, that's a tough place to come out of. Last there 8-10 years, and come out of there with a winning record. And just because you didn't win there doesn't mean you're a bad coach. And so John, I'm gonna veer away from that. But your other stuff is fair. But JJ, I want to get into the retention thing, because I guess I didn't realize how much Lobo fan was really bothered by this. And this is the second player to quote opt out. Keith McGee did earlier. 505-246-0610. We're going to talk Lobo basketball when we get back. San Diego State's in town. Well, in town, in Lubbock. Oh, listen to you. I see what you did there. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Animal.
IBE. I-33 J-Tub.
The pageant.
Moreno extra pass, and Watson. Out with it, Gallegos, and he's gonna run all the way. Window, yes! Able to get out of it. How did he find Battle? It's to Cunningham, and it.
I mean, Ramos was handling.
Ramos puts it up, beats the buzzer!
Boy, Jefferson wide open.
Jefferson to Daraji! Into Watson with the jam!
Another steal by Domino Lovato, and here comes Agbaiosi. Lob, two-hand hammer. You knew that was coming. Out the lob to Agbaiosi, the one-hand hammer.
Put up. And a drive from Parham. Another!
Opportunity here. Martinez shoots, he scores.
side. They're not going to miss this one. Two-hand hammer for Murillo.
Ball's played up. Rodriguez with it. Going to settle. Looks to the inside. Goes to the far side foot. Shot on
Our little basketball. Gets you in Fresno, 65-55. 1-11 in conference play. And here come the Aztecs into Lubbock this week. Lobo women, 91-69. They got beat in Canyon, Texas by Fresno State. Aggies got beat by Grand Canyon, 65-53. They're 0-2 in league play. It's the opening drive. Jeff Siembieda and J.J. Buck. So J.J., I want to finish up on that, what he talked about, and the Nolan Dorsey piece and another player transferring, and then we'll get to the phones at 505-246-0610. I've had this conversation with you, and you've got me to a point where I've accepted, and I think you need to accept that in college basketball today, the transfer portal is just part of the equation, especially at this level, especially in this league, especially at the Mountain West level. And you see what's going on all around. Look at how Nevada, San Diego State, Boise State, Fresno State, Colorado, I mean, everybody's using it. And everybody's using it to their advantage, UNLV. And I always ask you, which Lobo player has gone on and made a gigantic impact somewhere else? Vance Jackson's playing well this year. But it is what it is. And I would tell you, you've benefited more than it's hurt you. Whether it's been Drew Gordon or Tim Williams, or just go down the list. I'll go to Danny Granger or Darrington Hobson if you want, right? I mean, it's helped you. But JJ, I guess I watched the social media. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I had more time this weekend, or maybe there were more comments. Did you feel there were more comments on Lobo basketball this weekend? Just random fans. Certainly on my feed there were, and I don't know about yours. And I didn't realize how much it was really bothering Lobo fan to have to relearn the team every year. Now look, if they're winning, you have no problem relearning who that guy is that's scoring 20 and 10, right? You have no problem. Mm-hmm. But when they're 1-11 for whatever reason, I just noticed, and maybe this is just my feed, how vocal Lobo fan was about everything. And so when you're complaining, you're complaining. But they were really vocal about just the turnover, and they feel that Paul, that was one of the things I noticed, just fan reaction this weekend, was that they don't feel Paul can keep the team together, and here we are with this, and that's a big part of it.
That's where you have to start right at the top, is winning. If you're winning and you have new players coming in and helping you win, the fans don't have a problem. Because I will say it all the time, it doesn't matter if you have a group of guys that are here all 4 years. If you have the same record as Air Force, you don't care about the team. So that's one. It's about winning, and because they're not winning, this is an issue that's highlighted. And to have transfers work, you do have to have a core, and they don't have that core right now. And this was a year where you don't want to hear it, but they're hoping to find the core. They're going to say, all right, this is who we're going to try to develop and become, whether it's Byron Matos, Valdir, Jeremiah Francis. Like, they were trying to establish that this year and then take a step. Well, you go to the years before where you swung and missed. Like, last year was that combination of, you actually had more transfers, but you had a bunch of transfers come in that were supposed to hit. All ish hit the fan, and it didn't work. So as we've talked about, you don't have that payoff, and then you're starting over again, and then you're losing. And just add another thing to the list of why people are not buying into this program.
Yeah, look, if you're winning, if you're 11-1 instead of 1-11, you got no problem with all the transfers. You got none. You're like, damn, they went out and he can recruit his ass off, right? I mean, he went out and got guys, and look what he did and built this program. And man, we're transferring you, and we're 11-1. Hell, if you were 7-7, is that close? Yeah, no, 6-6. But that's. Did you notice that a lot this weekend? Was it on your feed as much as, because
it's become one of the things when you look at Lobo basketball not being good. What are the reasons? Well, a piece of that is recruiting. And then when you have players leaving the program, people are going to go right to the coaches and say, well, why are you not recruiting well? But then the players you are recruiting, you're losing them. In this case, I think Nolan Dorsey, at least, while he's not a wow dude for a lot of people, it was something I think, hey, maybe at least he becomes a player that can stick around and develop for a few seasons. And it's like, you know, as a fan, you go, all right, what's going to be the thing I think, is a reason. I think this team needs this. And the reality of it is it doesn't matter how you win if you win. But when you're not winning, it's everything is wrong. Because if this roster was 1-11, but you had like 6 seniors that have been following for 4 years, you're not going to be any happier about it as a fan. You're not going to feel good about it. There were 7 homegrown Lobos on the team, but they're still 1-11. You're not going to feel any better. So it's just a sense of what you're not doing hasn't worked, and there's a lot of fans wondering, well, if it got to this point, what's going to be the difference?
246-0610. Come on in. I'd love your thoughts on all this. Edward, good morning. Happy February to you. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. You know, as we venture into a new month, and I'm excited for it. You know, 8%, a little over 8% of the year is gone, and hopefully people are on a nice trajectory with their resolutions or how they reinvent themselves a little bit every year. Hey, JJ, happy belated birthday to the pride and joy of your life. You in the terrible twos now, or maybe they're the good twos. Let's be positive. Speak it into existence. And 2 turns into 15 real quick, and 15 turns into 24 even quicker. So enjoy this season with that great young man. You know, with Super Bowl week, one of the coolest things is going to the NFL Network and watching the old Super Bowls. And it just validates the point that more games are lost than won. I was watching Super Bowl, I think it was 10, with the Cowboys and the Steelers. And Bradshaw they were up 14-10 late in the game. I think there was like 5 or 6 minutes left. And he throws this bomb and just gets completely drilled. But he gets laid out by 2 defenders, and they're dragging him off the field, man. He's totally concussed, and they're kind of picking him up and dragging him off the field. So they go up 21-10. And the Cowboys, you know, Staubach leads them down, and they close it to 21-17. And then the Steelers get the ball back. It's just fascinating how the game has changed. They get the ball back on an onside kick, and they recover it. And Noel runs the ball 3 times to have them use their timeouts. And on 4th and 9, he doesn't punt from his own 3-yard line. He runs the ball again on 4th and 9 and gives the ball back to the Cowboys with like just under 2 minutes to go on their side of the field, only up 4. And it just, you know, Staubach just couldn't deliver. Great player, phenomenal player, but he's fumbling the snaps on play actions. It's just chaos. But it's just interesting to go back, revisionist history. I think we do romanticize the past a lot, and we think, oh, it was incredible. Well, maybe it wasn't that incredible. Maybe it was just really good, and there was human error just like there is today, but very fascinating. The Goff trade, which I texted you right away, you know, Goff took over that mantle, that goofy stat that Cowboy hang their hats on with Dak Prescott. Well, he has the most wins other than Tom Brady over the last 4 years. I think Goff did a great job. Made the playoffs 3 out of 4 years. And if it wasn't for the brilliance in the fourth quarter in that Super Bowl between Brady and their offensive coordinator and Gronk making a huge catch and Edelman playing MVP-level football, they could have easily won that Super Bowl. And every franchise and fan base in the NFL would take that, a chance to win the Super Bowl late in the fourth quarter. Now, I will say this. I think teams get beholden on what they're currently doing, and we've seen teams do the exact opposite. Alex Smith was doing a great job with the Chiefs, getting into the playoffs, you know, getting them into the AFC divisional round. And the Chiefs made a bold move and moved up in the draft and took the best player in the NFL right now in the middle of the first round. And they picked up Mahomes, and they said, hey, this kind of isn't working for us and getting us where we want to go. And now they may win back-to-back championships next Sunday. We saw other teams take big, bold moves. My friends would always call me, the Patriots would make sweeping bold moves. They let all-pro offensive lineman Logan Mankins go. They let Richard Seymour, which, by the way, needs to be in the Hall of Fame. If he doesn't make the Hall of Fame this year, it's a complete travesty. But they would let Chandler Jones, who led the league in sacks, they let him go. And they let these guys walk, and they're always looking to improve. And I just think organizations and teams and the Cowboys, and I'm not blasting the Cowboys, it's a perfect example. They're completely beholden with Dak Prescott and this, that, and the other. Maybe they need to make sweeping, bold move changes because what they're doing currently isn't working. So I have no problem with what the Rams are doing. And I think that if they do improve their quarterback play and get a person that can kind of facilitate their offense a little better, they moved up in Vegas, by the way, Jeff.
Yep.
I think they're the favorites right now in Vegas to go to the Super Bowl next year.
It's the right move for now, and that's what they feel that they're in a position to win now, and that's what they're doing. And you got to, if you're a Rams fan, you got to appreciate them, recognize the window, and take it a shot.
Absolutely, and I think that more teams should do that. And we've talked about this at length. In the NFL, you assemble a team, a talent base, and you really have a 3 to 4 year window. And then it recycles itself. And their window is now. And you have to capitalize off that as your aging stars, as your stars age, and then you move forward and contracts expire. And I just think it's a good move. And I like the action. I think we're going to see a lot more action. Anyway, happy February. And I appreciate you letting me share that quick story about the NFL. And I'm looking forward to hear what the other people have to say. Have a great day.
Thanks. See you. 505-246-0610. That's what the Rams are doing. It's their window now. Rudy, good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Hello, Rudy.
Now witness the winter of our discontent, huh?
Well, that's right. I don't think it's just starting now.
No, it's been going on. But look, you replace 12 players. You replace 3 coaches. You're in the middle of a pandemic. You can't practice full court in this state for 7 months. So it is what it is. Let's blame Paul Weir because he's responsible for everything, right? He's responsible for the pandemic. He's responsible for Dorsey being homesick. Look, the kid's from North Carolina, okay? It might have been a reach to get him anyway. Don't know. But if he leaves, he leaves. I'm more interested in the guys that are staying, to be perfectly honest with you. And there is a core there, but it's an inexperienced core. How much competition do you think Bayron Matos really got in the Dominican Republic being as big as he was? You think anybody challenged him?
Obviously not very much, yeah.
No. And so he's got talent, and everybody knows that he has talent. But what he lacks is experience. You can say the same thing for Vladir. He started out with a hand. He wasn't even going to play. So they've got some pieces, but what they don't have is a way to play. And enter San Diego State, and this won't be the first time that UNM got blasted by San Diego State. Remember, we had Steve Alford went out there and scored 46 points against them. I remember that game. Yep. So I'm just going to ride with this guy. We don't have any choice. He can get it done. Paul Weir has forgotten more basketball than most of the fans that are criticizing him know. So I'm not putting my faith in that. I'm putting my faith in this guy and that he can turn things around. If he can't, he can't. So it'll be next. But this year is so exceptional. Think about not being able to play in the pit. How devastating that is. That's the source of all UNM basketball power. That's where you go back to get healthy. That's where you go to the Davlos Center and work it all out. Then you play a home game. You scrape by. Maybe you get a win against Fresno. I would have loved to see San Diego State come to an empty pit. But no, we're going to play at Rip Griffin Center in Lubbock, Texas. So the whole thing's just a giant mess. And to blame and lay it all at Weir's feet, he accepts it. But I think at some point, this team will get better. I don't see them getting worse. When we were 15-2 last year, everybody thought Weir was the toast of the town, wasn't he?
That's right.
And so, yeah,
and then it all blew
what
up.
have you done for me lately? And he gets that. I talked to Paul the other day. We couldn't have a better person. Now, that said, maybe he's just being too good to the players. Maybe at some point he does have to demand that they make shots. Not just play with effort, but you got to make shots if you're going to be on this team, if you're going to be in that situation, and maybe putting that pressure on them, because there's nothing wrong with the coaches except that they all have to find their voice. And that's what's missing, if you ask me. That's my opinion. After watching Lobo basketball for so many years, we just can't find our coaching voice, and the players can't find their playing voice, and so they have to keep trying.
All right. No, it's good. Thank you, Rudy.
Yeah, take care. Y'all have a great week. Super Bowl week. Let's have some fun.
I don't think anybody doubts Paul's a good guy. People are struggling with being 1-11. And that's where people are. I haven't heard anybody tell me I think he's a jerk. Have you?
No. It's still a results-oriented business, and there's a lot going on for Lobo basketball. And Rudy's not wrong. It's like, how do you ultimately judge this season with the challenges that New Mexico is facing, which is still more than anyone else? And just look at New Mexico State. And they showed you this role of, well, we think we have a pretty good team. I don't think anyone is questioning Chris Jans as a head coach and his style and everything that he's implemented down in Las Cruces, and what happened to them when they took the court for the first time in a while. The learning curve is much bigger this season, but I think there are some things overall that it's not just a this year thing that people are looking at, and that's why they have a lot of questions when it comes to Paul Ware.
Yeah. All right, 505-246-0610. You can keep them coming. You trusted your home and business security to the local company. They had an armed response, and they sold you out, and you got selected. Now your security is on the brink of being bought out by a national corporate giant. You don't have to let that happen. You can call it International Protective Service. I've trusted IPS for a long time to trust my home. Aaron Jones owns IPS, and they are not for sale. IPS is invested here in this community. They care about your home. They care about your business security, just like it's their own. Let the highly trained armed guards and 24-hour patrols of IPS protect what's yours. Don't wait until something bad happens. This is like insurance, right? You know you need it. It's a tough trigger to pull. Pull the trigger. Like this isn't one of those. This is something that's going to make you feel better. Home security. What's more important than your family's security? Probably not much. Call IPS and have them look out for you. 505-897-2420. That's the phone number. There's no contracts. There's no long-term commitments. You're going to be really glad you made this call. IPS, 505-897-2420, or visit them at ipsglobal.com.
Audible delivers the best audio entertainment.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide coaches award program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Dorian over. Did he get
Yeah,
in?
they got in. He got in.
Touchdown, Dorian Lewis.
Seconds to play. Benavides still looking up the middle. It's intercepted. It's picked off by Freddie Anaya, and Roswell's season will end perfect.
Second quarter, 2nd and 4 for Socorro at the whole 44-yard line. McDaniel trying, good block by Hicks. First down and more, 30, 25, 20. McDaniel might be gone. Touchdown.
Wow.
Touchdown for Michael McDaniel.
It's 40 seconds this year. It's not like 25 like it used to be.
He laterals it back. What a play by Hightower. Pitch.
Looked like somebody moved a little bit early. Hicks, the play fake, double move. He's got his receiver wide open. Caught. One man to beat. Touchdown. Touchdown to number 17, Nathaniel.
Third and 6. Big defensive play coming up here. Little trickery to Reese. See you later. Touchdown. They went for the deep ball to Reese.
To the right, single receiver split to the left. Play fake, Head up the middle, got some room. 50, 45, 40, has one man to beat. 30, 25, 10, 5, touchdown. Touchdown, Hope.
Wow.
On a
Option again, he'll keep it. Now he'll pitch it. Comes out to the 30, 25, 20, up the sideline. Still inbounds into the end zone. Let's see.
Touchdown.
Touchdown, Portell.
The outside of running an out route.
Davison in the play action, looking. He's going to go back to Lewis, and Lewis makes a cut, and Lewis still on his feet. Dorian Lewis is in for a touchdown.
So Davison back to toss, and he's got all day. It's one miss, and he's rolling.
He's got a guy. Can he get it there? Davison to Luke Weissong.
We told you he could spin that
Touchdown.
football, and that was a throw right there. I know he's got the wind in his back, but
Let's see if Melfi can cash it in. He's got some protection. Deep ball. Erickson's open. Touchdown, Monarchs.
Second and 10. Smith looking, and he's going to fire over the middle, and he's got his guy. It's another big play. Walking away for a touchdown, Tristan Altier.
Hand it off to Chavez. Chavez breaking tackles. Look out. Chavez up the sideline. Stays in bounds. Touchdown. Volcanovic.
that replay to
Yeah, I
just
got
get
you.
the measurement. I mean,
Smith's got a fire on first down, and he's on the outside. There's a lot of room for Brad Thomas. A move, and he's set free. Dance into the end zone. Touchdown. So it goes.
He'll run with it. Stumbling. Gets down into the end zone. They're looking to throw it. And he throws it in the end zone. Caught!
First and 10 from the 11. And spin move for Smith. Push the B button. Dance into the end zone.
He'll throw it. Looking. Here comes the rush. Stepping up. Pavia now running around. Being chased. Looks across. Throws it up and wide open. Ball is caught. Touchdown. Jimmy Gaye. Chavez dropping, looking, stepping up. He's going to run. He's got a lot of green in front of him. To the end zone. Touchdown. Rio Rancho, Isaiah Chavez. Chavez set. He's going to run with it.
All right, coming off a weekend of basketball. Not a great weekend of basketball, certainly around here. Big trades in the National Football League and Major League Baseball. It's all open for you. It's the opening drive. Jeff Siembieda and JJ Buck. Micah producing on the radio side. J-Pole and Josh on the TV side. Downtown at ProView Networks. You can watch the show every day at 3. If you have Comcast on Channel 26, the show is rerun, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. What are you showing me? 3? Is that correct? Like 3? I'm right? Are you okay? All right. I got a bunch of emails, JJ, on Lobo basketball. Saturday, I received an alert on my phone, says Lobo Hobo. Lobo basketball falls to Fresno State 65-55. So I turned on the big stick to hear the postgame, and there was the current announcer telling me there was 26 seconds left and asking Hunt if Lobo basketball should intentionally foul. Did we go backwards in time? I think you know the answer. Do you need a re-explanation? Would you like to explain?
It's called delay.
As you well know, because of COVID, the broadcasters are not traveling with the team, and they are calling the game off of a feed. Probably the same feed you're watching.
apparently not watching because you got the alert and then tuned in after the fact.
Why are they sending out the? I mean, that's one thing. Louisville basketball. Well, they should probably. It doesn't matter. I guess it doesn't matter. Dean's in on Louisville basketball. Good morning. He says, first of all, the morning team is top. You men do a hell of a job. Thank you. My question is, and maybe you've discussed this, and I apologize if you have. I live on and work on a ranch, so I get bits and pieces of the morning show. I'm wondering what Dr. Weir's contract is. Does it have 2 years left, et cetera? So basically, he's a lame duck coach. How does he recruit? And since everyone is talking about how bad the program is, what's left to do? Even Jeff Goodman commenting on how he can't believe he would see the day the Lobos would be in last place. Thanks for your time. So Jeff Goodman's a national basketball columnist, writer, and he put out a tweet this weekend, said he never thought I know I'm paraphrasing, but I think I'm paraphrasing very closely. JJ, I'm sure you saw it. He never thought he'd see the day where New Mexico was 1-11 in Mountain West play, right?
Yeah.
All right. So there's 2 years after this year's left on his contract. And it is a tough spot, right? Typically, this is where you would renew your coach. You would extend your coach. So he can go out and recruit and tell a guy that I'm going to be here for your turn, as long as you're here. Now, what does that mean is we're just discussing transfer portals anyway. It doesn't matter. I know Paul's agent has been asking for an extension. You've been asking for a buyout. What is it, JJ? It's about $750,000 for the buyout?
$350,000 over the 2 years.
Okay, so that's
or each year, I should say.
Yeah, $700,000. So that's the status of the contract. Look, with all due respect, if you're going to keep this coach, like it's going to be a hard sell to a Lobo fan that you're extending him. It's going to be a hard sell to the guy staring you in the mirror that you're extending him after what happened last year. And I think you're worried as an athletic director about the stability and the leadership of the program. And look, again, I like Paul a lot, but we all watched what happened last year, and then this year you're 1-11. So this is one of the toughest ones. JJ, you're the athletic director. What do you do at the end of this year?
It's a tough spot to be in college athletics because of the situation where either way, there's a lot of money on the line. If you happen to extend a coach and if he is unable to turn it around, and your program continues to struggle, and then you're just on the hook for that much more money. But you also can't let a coach get to the end of his term in college athletics because of the recruiting piece to it.
And nobody understands that. See, that's the one where the layperson just, what do you mean? He's got a 2 year, let him do the 2 year. You can't go there. You're lame duck, and how do you get better?
So
right?
You're costing yourself either way. This is just where the business of college athletics is to hire and fire coaches. Either way, you're going to be eating money and owing money at some point.
Yeah. So, but that's where you are. And I think you're well aware, like everybody else during COVID, and certainly the university is financially strapped, and the athletic department exponentially financially strapped. So Paul's doing what Paul can do. Paul's coaching the best he can. You've got to make a decision. Are they just not very good? And if they're not good, who recruited the team? Why aren't they very good? Or if they're good players, but they're 1-11. Like at this point, and I'll give you this, JJ. Now, maybe it's because you're playing Fresno State and UNLV as opposed to Utah State and Boise State. Do you feel like you've seen progress over the last 4 games? Because I do. Now, it doesn't make you feel any better because you're getting beat. But do you feel like you've seen progress? Because as we get down to this thing, there's going to lie your argument, well, they didn't practice. They didn't have all this preseason practice. And so here's the progression that you would see typically. And so this is where they would be maybe in December. I know we're in February. So do you feel like you're seeing progress?
Yeah, when
I do.
Break down the season, it's obvious they are not, and they were not going to be a conference contender.
Okay.
Even if they got to practice for 7 months, the team
I agree with that.
Doesn't shoot well, not great offensively, so they wouldn't be in that conference contender status. So you have to start looking at, all right, if this is trying to figure out what the core is going to be, how would they look against comparable competition? And it goes back to your point of you look at the Nevada series, which wasn't a disaster. You lost it, but it wasn't like the other ones where when you played the top two teams so far, UNLV, Fresno State, there is something there in terms of, all right, at least you're competing with the comparable teams. You're not a conference contender yet, but with this core, is that the step towards establishing a team? This is the most difficult offseason to make that decision and address what you think about this basketball team, given all the factors involved. Because if you just look at scoreboard, record, it's terrible. But that's not the whole story. So I'm right there with you. And I think even the frustrated fans see how weird it's going to be trying to analyze this season. Because ultimately you can look at it and say, well, you're 1-11. There's all you need to know. What are you talking about? What's left to talk about? And then there's the fact that have you seen what's gone on? Have you seen the challenges of not practicing, being away, and in a program that we think established and has an identity, and didn't get a chance to be on the court because of other issues in, say, New Mexico State? And they came out and lost 2 games and had an unbelievable streak broken this year.
Do you think they got better?
It's hard for me to say they got better because I look at the team and say, all right, the effort's there, they're competing defensively, but I don't think they've gotten better offensively. Like, I just think that there's not a ceiling that they can get to. So I just say, all right, at least they compete against teams that are more their talent level.
Yeah. All right, we're going to go to the phones when we get back. 505-246-0610. I'm going to tell you, I think they've gotten a little better. Is it good enough? That's, it's a conversation we could have. 505-246-0610. It's the opening drive at 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Animal.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
I'll just get a little closer.
Oh, instead it's a gorgeous pass.
Here's what he'll
just shoot it.
He's going to go all the way.
He's gonna fire at the buzzer and he hits.
Great pass, Hadbury, and thank you very much.
Tie in the district. Inside, fly, Eagles.
Chavez uses some athleticism. And then Morris down low, able to finish. You called it, Steve, in 10 seconds. And look at this, stripped, stolen Watson. Christian Lucero beats the buzzer. Here's Ian Chavez, the sharpshooter. Got it.
Couldn't have said that any better. He answered the question. He
On
got
a
another
steal
one.
at the buzzer. Back to back for Chavez.
Medina from the volleyball lines. Medina wants another one from deep. Oh, he wants 10. Give him 10!
Lewis finds Watson. He's going to finish. One-handed slam. Cano Vista, but just all the different scenarios we could see potentially play out ahead of the state tournament.
box off the dasher. It's settled. Shot on by Garcia. Trickles in. Goal.
Chavez blocked at the rim. And here's Dorian Lewis to Watson.
Shot on and just wide. Big deflection. Goal.
With his first field goal. Look at that. That's gorgeous.
Not a game you can go have 25 turnovers in and win.
Get that out of here, Watson says. Here comes Hodnett all the way. He's blocked in return. Dickey, did he get it off? He did, and he hit it.
They're really...
Oliveras. Wild three, and it hit.
Another steal nearly by Hidon. It is a steal. Avalos ahead to Hidon. The two-hand hammer by Hidon. I knew he was going to put that one down.
ProView Networks tonight.
District matchup there.
Davidson took it away in transition. Might be time for a jam. Yes.
Oh! This week in beautiful Lubbock, Texas. Ladies will be in America's finest city. Who do the Aggies get this week, JJ? They move on out of Grand Canyon, out of Phoenix, and looking for a home in El Paso to try to play their games in El Paso. As they are, it's just go crazy. It's such a weird world, right? I'm looking at them at a 3-3 record and 0-2 overall at the bottom of the WAC standings.
Cal Baptist.
They get Cal Baptist. Okay. So they get what they got left. God, it's just so crazy. Look at the schedule. Cal Baptist, and then they'll go up to Seattle. Then they'll get paired with Utah Valley, then Tarleton, and then the Chicago State's canceled because they've canceled their series. So there's just not much on not a lot of meat on the bone. It's going to be 3 days in Vegas for them, and we'll see where it goes. 505-246-0610 is how to get in. 888-922-0610. We're talking Lobo basketball. Deutsch said, toughest weekend ever, Jeff? Started Friday when the experts told us not so fast. A COVID resurgence is almost guaranteed in the fall. Then the Lady Lobos got blued out of their Texas built. Finally, the debacle in beautiful Fresno, California, and watching Rod Brown limp off the field. Air Force looks beatable, but if Lobo basketball doesn't cash against the Flyboys, 1-19. It's going to be a long summer around here. It's from Deutsch. I would have told you there's not a chance in hell this program finishes 1-19. I still don't think they finish 1-19. Right? They pick off Wyoming once, don't they? And they pick off at least 1 or 2 against Air Force. And, boy, is there anything else on there? I mean, they've already got split with San Jose State. There's Fresno. I mean, what else is left for them? So where are you finding wins?
Yeah, the Air Force series is one you look at and say that's your best chance for 2. A split would be good against Wyoming. And given a couple extra minutes to think on your last question, Jeff, of has this basketball team gotten better? And it is really hard to say that when you look at their overall record, but I will agree with you in terms of, in my watching this team, I think at least they figured out how to play defense, and they do execute defensively, and there's an identity. And individuals, I think Valdir Manuel went from a baby giraffe taking terrible shots to someone that has grown and gotten better. And experience is such a huge thing for this basketball team. The young post players, the young perimeter players. Kurt Weichstrider, hey, 10 points, rebounding, playing hard. Those are little steps. But little steps in the moment are hard to see and wrap your mind around. when you're a one-win team in conference so far.
No, I get it. I tell you that my point of them getting better, it's all of that. I see them, they've made some shots. I've seen some more confidence on the offensive side, not necessarily at the end of games, although, I look at the end of that Fresno State game regulation on Thursday, and wow, they made some plays, right, defensively, and then converted. I like the way they rebound offensively, especially. Like, they're rebounding well. Vegscheider played well. Rod Brown going down, I think it hurts a lot. But it feels like there's been some guys who try to take some of the pressure off of McQuash and do some different things. I feel like the offense has moved a little bit better. They turn the ball over a lot. But just the eye test, and you can tell me, they played San Jose State and Fresno State, and even in the second UNLV game, look, their last 5 games to me, they've looked better. Now, I get it. They weren't playing Utah State and Boise State. But you know what's coming up next? San Diego State and Colorado State. Now, we could have a totally different conversation a week from today. Because
it's 2 different things, right? It's the Lobos not being able to compete with the top of the conference, but then judging them against comparable opponents. And people don't want to hear that, but that is who they are this season.
In large respect, I think the whole league is this way. Now, I'll give Nevada. Nevada played San Diego State twice, tight, right? They lost both games, but they played them within single-digit games. But other than that, man, you're watching Boise State, Colorado State blow people out. All right, Utah State's they struggled with UNLV the other night. I think there's always exceptions, but as a rule, the Wyomings, the Air Forces, the New Mexicos have been getting blown out. Now, it sucks to be in that group. It does. But the difference between the top of the league and the rest of the league, the top 4, I think this year is as dramatic as I've ever seen it. And it sucks to be in that bottom part of the league. This is, JJ, I don't want to sit here and play naysayer, but I'm concerned about this week. If Rod Brown doesn't play, even if Rod Brown plays, here comes the team that's rolling right now, and you're struggling. And one thing San Diego State learned from the Colorado State game, it feels, is when they got a team down, they don't let up. Have you watched them at all? They are not backing off, man. That Colorado State game woke them up. They're not backing off. And they're playing at a level right now. They're offensively, which is what's been most surprising to me. Their defense leads to offense, but like I'm concerned about this week.
How could you not be? Look at what happened when the Lobos played the best teams in the conference. You have one of those 4 teams coming up next that just beat the bottom 2 of the teams on the bottom in Wyoming and Air Force 4 games in a row by an average of 31.5 points. It is a very troubling week ahead.
Mean Machine sent me this email, Jeff@610KNML.com. Rough weekend for Mean Machine. He said, Jeff, Lobo fans were ripping Mean Machine. You told us we had all these players. You asked, where's the playing time coming from? Now we got walk-ons on the field. Wah. In my defense, he says, I don't have a crystal ball that told me 2 players were going to quit. 2 more would suffer potentially significant injuries. Another, Asan, yet to be seen. It's time to put his picture on the back of a milk carton. The good news is now there's plenty of minutes to go around. Look, you got injuries. Have we heard anything on Rod Brown, by the way? Because that did not look good.
Not an update so far.
All right. I hate speculating that stuff. I mean, the big departure was Keith McGee. Now, does he make a big difference? I think to me, I feel you can win the first Fresno State game with Keith McGee.
I agree.
Maybe
shooter,
win this,
maybe get 2-3 more 3-point shots along the way, be in a different position, and then at least someone that has been there, done that, and you're looking for anyone that's been there, done that in the backcourt right now.
Yeah. I'll read you a bunch more. I got a lot of your opinion coming in. You can get in at 505-246-0610. 888-922-0610. Your emails have been coming in. Jeff@610knml.com. JJ at 610knml.com. Lots more Lobo basketball. We can get into the football as well. It's Super Bowl week. You'll hear the Super Bowl here on the Sports Animal on Sunday. Glad you're with us on ProView Networks at 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Has that ball stolen. Jeremy Segura.
Over dribble, spin cycle, up and under move. What a pass, wrap around pass.
Harris, Legate, the long bomb, 3 ball.
Oh, great steal by Quinteros, lays it up and scores.
A little jump step in the...
And look out, here comes Agbayosi. Crawford. That's blocked. Lansing says, get that out of here. Sister to sister, Marianne Lansing's going to go all the way. Turnaround. Ramos, pump fake, everyone bites. Ramos hits.
Jackson loses it. Taylor Bond back, alley-oop, put it down. Dunkalicious, how about it?
Lovato driving. They're going to count it.
Gallegos, ooh, a little spin and a finish.
Natalia Chavez, good spin. Takes a...
Here's Ramos. Nice jump stop to the...
Maybe gambling a little bit. Oh, there's a... Hill, little step, high window, and a...
Got the second. In the middle. Here we go, 3.9. It's Cooper's going to run with it. Cooper's going to swing it out to Lowry. Lowry, Portillo couldn't get it off, and Clovis goes in. It's waved off. He did not get it off in time.
We saw him go down and grab his heel, and we just hope that he's okay. Can you tell us something about the condition of Rod Brown?
Yeah, I was probably as fearful as you were. I don't believe it's an Achilles injury, so that was my initial concern when I saw it, probably as you're mentioning, but we're going to get some x-rays tomorrow. The doctor had some initial ideas here, but I think until we get those x-rays, it's probably premature for me to comment on what the status of him is until we get that x-ray done.
Lobo basketball coach Paul Weir with Robert Portnoy after the loss on Saturday in Fresno, 65-55. Rod Brown went down with an injury, and it was obviously something that was concern and we'll wait for word on that. It's the opening drive. Jeff Siembieda and J.J. Buck. Mike has produced on the radio side, and Josh and J-Pole on the TV side. So we'll see where the Rod Brown injury comes back, and I would assume that we would get some word on that at some point today. JJ, Dan is looking at the bright side of this. Here's like this is the perspective I yearn for. Dan says, I disagree with Dan, Jeffrey, Juan Jose, and Micah John. Lobo basketball is probably going to finish 10th or 11th in the Mountain West. I don't think that's a bad place to be. They'll probably get UNLV or Fresno State rematch in the play-in game. We just saw Lobo basketball is very competitive with those teams, and it's tough to beat a team 3 times. Then Colorado State or Nevada, I don't think those clubs are unbeatable either. See, Dan's looking at a run at the Mountain West Conference tournament.
Mr. Brightside, take it where you can get it.
All right. Well, hey, look. I want those lenses too. I just want to see something that gives me the thought that can happen. Get me through these next 2 series, and let's see where we are. Because JJ, what do you? God, you want to win all 4 games, but I mean, realistically, here comes San Diego State and Colorado State. Realistically, optimistically, 2 different things. What do you want to see? What do you hope to see out of Lobos in these next 2 series, these next 4 games?
Not lose by an average of 25 points per game. To be in the second half with the chance to not be down by 50 points to San Diego State.
Yep. That's all fair because other teams have been in that situation. 505-246-0610. Bruin James, you're on the Quan's Auto Care hotline. Behave, James. How you feeling?
It's good. Good to be back, guys. Good to be back. Thank you for taking my call. It's crazy that Matthew Stafford's going to be in L.A. And check this out. Him and Clayton Kershaw are best friends in high school and junior high, and they're going to reunite in the City of Angels.
Yep.
So it's going to be a good year in the South and SoCal for football because the Bruins are looking pretty good and the Trojans, So and then you got the Rams, and well, not the Chargers, but I mean it's going to be looking good in the Southland. So all right, take care, guys.
All right. This is very well behaved, Bruin James.
Yeah, I don't know if you've heard, but Clint Kershaw and Matthew Stafford are friends.
Yeah, did you hear that? They were teammates back in the day. Yeah. The more I think about it, in the immediate, JJ, that trade, and I know we talked about this earlier, but I'd love your thoughts on the Rams trading for Stafford as well, giving up Jared Goff, giving up a 3rd-round pick this year and 2 first rounds over the next 2 years. I'm excited about it in the immediate. I am. I'm excited to see the Rams play. I think the Rams defense is really, really good. Their offense is nice, and I think with Stafford it takes it to another level. Do I think they're an elite offense? I kind of want to see it. But I think Matthew Stafford with Sean McVay's offense, with some weapons, with a new I don't know, there's just a different feel around the Rams than there is around the Lions, isn't there?
Absolutely.
I'm excited to see what they can be. I'm concerned about the Rams giving up so much, but I'm excited about seeing them now.
This is what sports franchises should do. Try to win right now. That's the thing. When you have a good team,
2 minutes.
There's far too many times you get complacent. We're just going to run it back. We were just off here, so let's run it back. And the Rams did that for a little bit, but they realized they hit a ceiling with Jared Goff. And you credit Jared Goff, and you say, yeah, good job, good effort. We got to the Super Bowl. It was a 13-10 game. Couldn't get it done. I think he was a good player, good character in that locker room. He could have, lost his ish. I would have. You're telling me you're going to start John Wolford in this game over me? I think that was a moment in time we realized that, all right, Jared Goff, if they can move on from him, they're going to move on from him. But it's a situation that if you're the Rams, you built that foundation. It's in place. You got Aaron Donald. You traded for Jalen Ramsey. You have Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods. You got a 2nd-round pick last year that worked in Cam Akers. And so let's go win right now and make it worth not having all these first-round picks because we have a team. All in on it. Love the move.
You know, it's a lot, and it's got to work, right? It's got to work. And I guess for that, you've got to believe in Stafford. You've got to believe in Stafford. Do I have time to take this call, Micah? All right, I know we're coming up on the break. Francisco, good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Hi, Francisco.
Hey, good morning, guys. Lobos, I feel for the kids, especially. I feel what the coaches do because of COVID and all this mess. But if the University of New Mexico, they have to come to the mindset that we have to invest in this program. That's not only including, you know, a nice stadium and everything, but it's a coach and a coaching staff. And Eddie's job is to raise that money, to pay that coach, whoever that coach is. And I used to think that was kind of just like a cop-out because you would hear callers go, you know, we need to make that investment. We need to make that investment. You know what? They do. They do. They kind of got what they paid for, I hate to say it. You kind of got a $600,000 a year coach. I mean, that's what you got. You got a Division II coach. And Paul's a nice guy, and I think he's okay coach, but you got to, it's not just coaching, it's running the program. It's you're in charge of you're like the CEO of a business, you know, and that's where I think he really lacks. But if the Lobos want to get anywhere, you got to pay coach. We got lucky with Gonzalez and Rocky Long coming for what they did. That cost. That probably will not happen in basketball. And but they need to make that investment, man. And I'll pay an extra $10 a ticket or whatever. I'm willing to do it, but because at some point you just got to realize what we're doing isn't working, and then so make the investment. I mean, you know, it is what it is, man. I mean,
I get it. All right, Francisco, appreciate it. It's interesting, JJ. So, I mean, we have that conversation on the other side. First of all, I don't know how you do that. There's plenty of people who say hell no. And would you really pay an extra $10, $15 a ticket? Would you? Only if they're winning. Sure as hell won't if they're losing. And there's no guarantees. It's an interesting conversation. 505-246-0610. I also got someone who said, call the cops. There was a major heist in sports. Oh, JJ, check your back pocket. It's the opening drive on 95.9. It's not there, is it? On 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
I'm Kyle.
To shoot. They'll get one off, and it'll count high off the window.
Oh my gosh.
There's the long three.
Boom.
Bang. Martinez will beat the buzzer. Got it to go. His
Ford driving kick. Three's in the air. It's good. Nice pass on the nice block by Hernandez Crawford.
And Brown in the transition.
why not, Steve? Is Corbalon's going to go and he puts it away. And Corbalon wants to put it down. Here comes Screechers. Brown, you can't leave him alone. Put it down.
Gershon in transition, 3-on-2. Gershon going to go all the way. Oh, Morgan.
Call it as Bobby's looking, and he's got a guy wide open, and it's Gay, and he's gonna walk into the end zone. But he did a good job with it. First and goal, it's Chavez to the middle, and Chavez stops.
And Stevens in motion. On the handoff to Mitchell. Look out! Oh, see you later. Take it to the house fly. Cardinals fly. To the other side, provide some protection. And off to Webskowski again. Look out! See you later. Good night. Touchdown, Webskowski. An 8. 2 receivers at the top. Harris has all day. He's going to fire to the end zone. Open man. Touchdown. Wildcats. Not a defender inside.
A little bit.
Webskowski on the sideline. Asta Manana. He's off to the races. Touchdown, Clovis.
Albuquerque this afternoon.
34-24. Rancho late in the third. How about this run? Nice play.
Gotta have a score. Catch and shoot 3-ball in transition for Malawach is good. How big is that? McQuatch with 11. 1 for 7 from 3. The Lobo leader, fearless. They needed it so badly.
Robert Portnoy, courtesy of the UNM Radio Network, the fearless Lobo leader. Not enough. 65-55, Fresno State over the Lobos on Saturday past in beautiful Central Valley of California. Next up, here come the Aztecs into Lubbock. Albuquerque, JJ. Coming up this week, Wednesday, the game will be on over on News Radio KKOP. Jeff, JJ, Micah, J. Pole, and Josh. So what do you think of Francisco's concept where, all right, now you got to make a move at coach and you got to go big and invest? Like, I mean, what do you, is it Greg Marshall time? Find big money and bring in a Greg Marshall? Is that what he wants to do? First of all, where's the money coming from? That's Nunez's job to go find it, he said. But what do you think of that whole concept?
Well, I understand said concept, and absolutely, if you move on from a coach, it's going to take a lot of money because you got to pay the remaining number that is left on said contract and then go hire someone else, including an entirely new staff. It is a big financial investment, and that is the question that you're asking yourself when you're a mid-major program. You're in this situation to where judging this year is going to be incredibly difficult. It's easy to look at the record and say, well, they're 1-11. That's all you need to know. The external factors have to play into this conversation, and the realization that this team is not a contender this year. So if you just judge them thinking, oh, they should have been a contender, well, that's not the best way to look at this specific season. But then ultimately, too, if you go into next year, which is 1 year away from the end of your current head coach's contract, is he able to recruit? This is no man's land right now for a program that has a question of, are we good? Are we getting better? And then do we invest more in the back end? But if that doesn't work out, then we're in a deeper hole. This is a ridiculously difficult decision to make after a ridiculously difficult year for everyone in athletics.
Gopher wants to reply to Francisco. He says, Jeff, how come Weir doesn't get any credit for what Lobo basketball did to Orlando Robinson? That guy looked lost for 80 minutes. Lobo basketball's smaller guys totally outmuscled the 7-foot supposed NBA prospect. I thought they did a great job on the big guy for Fresno State over the weekend. You know why he's not getting credit? Because they didn't win. But to his point, they absolutely should get credit. What they did to Orlando Robinson and Fresno. Did you listen to the Fresno State announcers? They were just stunned at what was happening to their best player. Now, the guards took over, and the guards won them a couple basketball games. But what the Lobos did to their best player, who in the previous series had been so good for Fresno State, absolutely should get credit for that.
And I think that is the one area that you say, all right, this is where Lobo basketball is getting somewhere. And that's defensively, the effort, the execution in these series against like foes.
And that's why when I asked you earlier, do you think they're getting better? Are you seeing progress? I do. And I understand that the L's keep mounting. And I understand that the progress was made against San Jose State, UNLV San Jose State, and Fresno State. But the first step to getting better in anything is realizing the issue. And so if you were going to tell me, Jeff, who cares? We're competitive against teams in the middle of the bottom of the league. Well, the reality is you're not the Lobos that you are in your mind. The reality is you have to accept who you are. You're 1-11. So now you got to start beating the teams who are beating you up. It's like the football thing. Oh gosh, Jeff, don't start with that. We can't go down this football road. Well, with all due respect, I mean, 1-11, you're at the bottom of the standings. That's where your football program has been the last bunch of years. So now you got to start beating the teams who are beating you, right? And so to show progress against Fresno State, UNLV, and San Jose State, I mean, I get it, and that's why this week concerns me, because it could be a major step back. I hope it's not. I really hope it's not. And JJ, if they're competitive and they lose by 15, I'm going to tell you I think they're getting better. You're going to look at me and you're going to go, what the hell are you talking about? But it's the eye test. And their bigs are getting better. The offense looks to have a little bit more flow at times to me, and a few more guys are scoring points.
And I agree with you. It's crazy, but it's the realization, it's the understanding of what we've watched to this point, where this Lobo basketball team is, and how they stack up versus the rest of the Mountain West Conference this year. And this is a series that could get ugly very quickly. So if it's not as ugly as the start, well, that is a step forward. It's not a step you want to hear as a fan. It's not what everyone wants to embrace, but it's the reality of the moment.
It's tough, man. I get it. I get it. This one I get. What am I getting this almost every day now? Is Hunter the most frustrated color guy in America? Sounds like he took all his restraint not to take off his dress shoes and put on his Converse All-Stars and run out on court as the new Lobo point guard. Yeah. He does sound frustrated, doesn't he? And look, he loves Lobo basketball. He was a part of Lobo basketball.
What do you think his best shot is? Like a nice little baseline jumper, put him in the corner, get you 15 points.
How deep in the corner are you going to put him? I mean, come on now. You know, old guy. I'm not calling him old, but he's like, I mean, you know, older. How about that? Older guy. I bet he still has a little game, don't you think?
Oh,
a little 10-foot
No
jump
doubt.
shot from the baseline. Well, I bet he's got some.
Love to see Hunter out there. Like getting it in the post, looking around. Little Jackie Moon action. Kick it back out. Oh, I'm ready. Back. All right, boom.
Back. Yep. Gimme! Give me the damn ball. You just turn it over again. Nobody got a shot. I might as well get one. All right, Gene's in on the baseball. He said, somebody call the cops. There was a major heist in Denver, and I'm not talking about the U.S. Mint, Jeffy. When I heard Arenado was entering the transfer portal, I thought maybe JJ's organization was going to finally shore up Albuquerque's AAA franchise with tons of young studs who would bring championships for seasons to come. But none of the names I'm hearing were lighting up in the Cardinals organization. I don't see anyone blowing my socks off. Wow, that guy is going to be a game changer at Credit Union Field. Look, he's right, man. There was a heist, and the Cardinals absolutely ripped you off. You ain't got no wallet left. Nothing. They stole it from you.
Someone called 911. Hide your kids. Hide your wife. St. Louis Cardinals just robbed the Colorado Rockies. And here's the issue. The Albuquerque Isotopes are going to be the Colorado Rockies, and the Hartford Yard Goats are going to be the Albuquerque Isotopes.
Say that again?
The Isotopes are going to be the Rockies.
Yeah.
The Yard Goats are going to be the Isotopes.
Oh, boy. All right. You think that's how this goes? I mean,
It's not like St. Louis sent you anything you can put here in Albuquerque.
Well, no wonder everybody's loving United or Dividers or whatever, because they announce a different player for their second team every day, and they may win some games. I mean, they're the only, like, who else is winning right now? The women are winning. Cross country teams winning.
Cross country preseason favorites. Let's go. I think they have 3 meets set up.
Football's on a 2-game winning streak.
2-game winning streak.
Lobo football's on a 2-game winning
nation,
streak.
Right? Ties them with.
Is that best in the nation?
It's up there. It's not
Alabama's got to be on a little bit
higher streak. It's in the upper echelon.
What's Hawaii?
Streaks ending last year.
Yeah, 2-game winning streak. They won their final game. I mean, it's always nice to win your final game, right? See? That's all I'm telling you. All right, 505-246-0610. Keep them coming. I want to tell you about on-the-spot automotive detailing. I'm so glad they're back. Winter weather, not kind to your vehicle. The cold air pulls the moisture out of your paint job. The sand, the salt can cause your paint to fade or chip. It's a bad look and it's bad for your vehicle, but it's cold outside. You don't want to wash it. You don't have to. That's where On the Spot Auto Detailing comes in. On the Spot will get clean inside and outside. Detailing, boys and girls. And it's not like that quick rinse you get at one of those drive-through places. Best of all, they come to you. Come to your home. Come to your office. That is convenience and that is quality. Where it's convenient and when it's convenient for you. I've told you, man, this is one of the greatest things ever. You don't have time. They do. It's what they do. You're sitting at the office. You're at your desk. You're dealing with the kid. Whatever it is you do all day long, they come out to you. You get a text a couple minutes, hour later, whatever the time frame is, and you go outside and your vehicle looks like it's brand new, like the day you took it off the lot. Remember how fun it was to drive then? Call On the Spot Auto Detailing. This is the bomb, and it's time to get this done. 505-859-2859. That's the number. 505-859-2859, or go to otsdetailing.com.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms, and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Second field goal, he's got 4 points. Watson, though, goes all the way.
Hit the deck, I should say. Cordova trying to throw it off. Romero, a 3 for...
Set out to Jutapia. Nice move behind his back. It's a good... Here's Ramos, step back, high arcing, twine.
Well, he needed to get his legs back under him.
Ooh, a little kick.
it, but then we'll score again. Look at this.
Up top! Yes, and the finish for Akbayosi. Saved into the hands of Riak, ahead of the pack to Davina Lovato. Up high, down hard for Akbayosi. Out of the corner, Casals, the 3-0, Katenge! Let me clean up the mess! He dropped out of the rafters for that one, Steve.
To create space, he gives it off to Rivas for the 3, and he buries it.
Billy coming in soon, double pick set for Avalos, goes to the right. Avalos puts it up high, window, scores it as foul.
Right here by Lewis all the way, coast to coast, and finish.
What a
around the screen against White. Step back, it's blocked. JB with the block.
in transition, ahead to hit on for the two-hand hammer.
Seconds to go. They've got a shot. They have a chance, and it's put up, and it's good. What a 3 that is by Jalen.
Puts it up.
Rebound, Cowboys. Right side, David Hall. Thank you very much. Here come the Cowboys. Davina Lovato lays it up. Missed it. Hey, how about it? Thank you, Lusses. Thank you very much, Raquan Mitchell. Clock at 6. They get it. Barnes Tompkins fires. Yes! Pass on court.
David, so before we take some questions, which I'm sure there's a few out there, I just want to address a couple things here quickly before we get started. So organizationally, just want to reiterate our commitment to Deshaun Watson. He's had a great impact on this organization, a great impact on a lot of people, a great impact on this team. And we look forward to the opportunity to spend more time with him here this spring once we get started. And, you know, we have zero interest in trading the player. We have a great plan, a great vision for him and for this team and his role on our team. And we look forward to the opportunity to spend more time with him here this spring. So we'll take some questions. David and I will take some questions, and we'll go from there.
So that's the new Texans GM, Nick Casario, saying we're not trading him. I'm not sure I buy that. They got a great plan, though, JJ. They got a great plan. What the hell's your great plan? You got no draft picks. You got a quarterback who doesn't want to be there. You weren't very good last year. You don't really have a running game. You traded your best receiver for Bupkis. What's your plan, bro? And your quarterback wants out. You can restock and reload with a haul of picks. Is that what you want to do? It's the opening drive, Jeff, JJ, Micah, J-Pole. So what's the plan? And do you buy – I buy that they don't want to trade him. I absolutely buy that. But I don't think – I still am not nearly convinced that when they open up camp next late summer that Deshaun Watson's still on their roster. Do you?
I don't. And how bizarre this situation – this was a team – 2 years ago, had a 20-plus point lead in the postseason on Kansas City. Okay, you lost that game, but then the fall from grace following that moment is unbelievable. How badly they handled everything, because this was a team that was making those moves, that gave up a first-round pick to bring in a left tackle to try to solidify that line. They felt that they were on the doorstep of taking that step and becoming a contender and how quickly it fell apart. It is still hard to wrap my head around how bad this went, and to the point of alienating Deshaun Watson. He's a 25-year-old quarterback that's proven he can be a top 5 quarterback in this league. And you got to the point of, all right, you thought Bill O'Brien was an issue. There were a lot of concerns with his way of coaching this offense. But then after all that, the owner gets in the way, the highest level of management in this organization. And that is one where I don't know how you smooth that over with the owner. If he's out there saying, sure, Deshaun, sure, we'll do this. I'll listen to you. You're our franchise player. We want you part of this process. And then to completely go the other way, how do you think that's going to happen? You should have never opened that door in the first place. You go, Deshaun, we expect you. You're the leader of this franchise, but we're making these decisions over here. We're keeping them separate. It is just amazing how poorly Houston has handled all this. And I don't see, ultimately, when it's all said and done, Deshaun Watson coming to the table going, yeah, I'm going to believe in you guys, unless the new GM and new head coach are just constantly blowing up his agent's phone and trying to get that one meeting to start conversations.
All right. You can get in on that, 505-246-0610. We'll go to the phones here in a second. I just want to update you on this. James Yotis is tweeting, and he's watching the NMA Board of Directors meeting. And New Mexico Activities Association is working on trying to figure out when to play, what kind of schedule for high school sports. He said that the board of directors passed a sports calendar, which is February 22nd for football, cross country, and volleyball, March 1st for soccer. So, ProView, you guys are going to have some games according to what James is saying. Football, cross country, and volleyball on February 22nd. And March 1st for soccer. It's going to be shortened seasons. I'm hearing up to maybe 5 games, 5 weeks. But they're trying to get everything in. He says, for those who have been wondering, 4 positive cases in a program within a 14-day period will shut down the school. That means no sports. An individual positive test within a team would force a suspension of a season, according to APS's superintendent. So that's in the school. 4 positives in a school will shut it down in 14 days. But 1 within a team would shut them down. So
this isn't going to end well for high school athletics.
There's no way. Yeah. He said Sally Marcus, the executive director, said that UNM will host the state finals in soccer and volleyball. So soccer stadium in the Pit. Quarterfinal, semifinal matches would be at home campus sites. Okay. So James is watching this. And we'll update you as we go. 505-246-0610. Lance, how you feeling about trading Nolan Arenado? Can't you got such a haul back for the best player in baseball?
It was just a stupid weekend altogether, but it reminds me of the Denver Nuggets when they have guys all over the league right now that are all-stars, like Iguodala, and won championships and all this, and their coach or their owner just decided, I'm going to fire George Karl. He was on the doorstep of a championship, came very close, and then he fired and got rid of all the players. They just sent him packing. I'm like, they were right there, but oh well, But in football, all you need is a quarterback. You don't need, defensive backs or linebacker or nothing like that. As long as you got that quarterback, like we got Drew Lock. That's all we need, man. But anyway, the stupid thing about, the trade with Detroit for the Rams, that dude's 32 and has had 2 major surgeries, and I just, Goff, as far as Jim Rome said, I didn't know this, but Goff was has the second most passing yards in the NFL for the last couple of years, so
all right.
Doing something right, and they had a down season, but I can't believe that they would trade that guy for, Stafford. But anyway, that's all I got. But yeah, that Arenado thing it just breaks my heart. I mean, that's just the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Those people, the owners need to be drug tested themselves. I mean, to make a decision like that, I mean, you had to be drunk. We'll see them.
All right, later. It should break your heart. Like honestly, you're a Rocky fan. That's one of those, JJ. That's like the triple edge bang. It hurts, right? It's like, okay, we just lost probably your favorite player on the team, one of the best players in baseball, the face of the franchise. Okay, we're going to trade him. He wants out. Like that hurts. But at least we're going to get something for. No, you're not. You got like typically when you trade a guy like that, there's a haul, right? The Lions just traded Matthew Stafford. They got 2 firsts, a third, and a quarterback. So if you're a Lion fan, you're going, God, we just traded my favorite player, but all right, I get it. There's something to look forward to, right? You got nothing. And watching everybody else in that division get better. The Dodgers just won the championship, and they're young and they're talented. And yeah, they lost Kike Hernandez and they lost Jock Peterson. They may lose Turner, but you're going, damn, the Dodgers are still really good. Look what the Padres are doing. Padres are spending left and right, making great deals, getting better. The Giants, you know, we're going to get better. And there you are, and you did nothing. Like that's where it's just. It's one thing to lose your favorite player, the face of your franchise. It's another to just get fleeced on it and get nothing back.
I'm still having a hard time figuring out why this deal had to be done right now.
Oh, wait. You also gave them $50 million. I forgot about that.
To help
part.
St. Louis take the money.
Yeah.
Why did the deal have to be done right now? It doesn't make sense. So you're telling me the best third baseman in baseball right now, this was the best deal you could get, bending over backwards to get him off your payroll.
Oh, no, you bent over frontwards. No, you bent over frontwards on this one.
I can't wrap my head around it. And it makes zero sense because guess what? The Rockies then aren't going to go sign a bunch of good players the next few years because they're going to be like, yeah, I'm not going to go to your organization right now because you're not any good. And if you can't play the game, get out of the game. And that's where I think a lot of the frustration is right now. Because if you look around, yeah, Major League Baseball, sports took a hit. But I don't see all these other franchises dumping their stars. Free agency has been difficult. Guys haven't been making money this year, which is, pushed guys later and later. And maybe there's been some cheaper deals for, say, a Jock Peterson, etc., Kyle Schwarber, guys signing for a little bit less. Okay. But if you can't afford to play the game, leave the game. And that is the kind of pressure now that the Monforts are under. Like, people are looking at them saying, if you can't play this game, if you don't know how to compete, if you can't get top-level prospects back for trading the best third baseman in baseball, why should we support your organization anymore? Yeah. That's what's going on in Denver right
now. Rocky fan, I'd love to hear you because this one is mind-numbing. Like, the Ram trade is crazy. The Lion trade, if you're the Rams Lion fan, like, you can justify it.
Makes sense. That trade makes sense.
Cardinal fan is just going, really? We got that guy for nothing? Like, the Cardinals are good, by the way. Cardinals are going to be good. 505-246-0610. I got all kinds of response to that, too. It's the opening drive. I'll get them to you on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This for the win, blocked by DJ Bustos.
Ramos, rise and fire. He's fouled.
He used to coach for Del Norte. And
here's Voss all the way with the finish. He'll get the... Behind the back of the dribble. Tries to go up with the right hand. He changed hands in midair. And Hotnet sent it away. Wynn doing a really good job denying Chavez. DC hasn't got the ball. Oh, Yeku. Oh! Working against Watson. Oh, look at the spin move.
loose. DJ Bustos brings it up. Barnes Tompkins, alley-oop. How about it? That was redunculous.
Turnover. Cable to the big fella might try to jam one home.
Moreno extra pass. And Watson. Out with it, Gallegos, and he's going to run all the way. Window, yes! Able to get out of it. How did he find Battle? It's to Cunningham, and it...
I mean, Ramos' hand. And
Ramos puts it up, beats the buzzer!
boy, Jefferson wide open.
Jefferson to Daraji! Into Watson with the jam!
Another steal by Davino Lovato, and here comes Agbaiosi. Lob, two-hand hammer. You knew that was coming. Heck about the lob, tagged by Osi, the one-hand hammer.
Put up. And a drive from Parham.
Lancer is the OD answer. Loopy is the old... No, that doesn't make sense. That might have been the most sober Lancer call ever, says Bad Street. I think that trade made him sober.
He's like, wait, even I am not that crazy.
Yeah. Even I wouldn't have done that. Zoom, 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 zoom. The Rams-Lions trade. Gopher didn't like it. Matt Stafford, he says, equals Steve Trash. I said trash to make it funny. This move by Ramett reminds me of the desperate Lakers to appease an old Kobe, bringing in an old Steve Trash for all their draft picks to make one last run at getting Bryant another belt. Doesn't feel that way at all to me. Feels like you got a good quarterback who's at the back end of his prime that you're trying to get a couple of years and push your really good team over the top. That's what it feels like to me. See? Ram it. I don't know. Does it feel like Steve Nash to you?
It doesn't feel like that at all. All right, you don't have first-round picks. You still got a second-round pick, right? Still got a third-round pick.
I believe you have all those.
That is established that you can go out there in a free agent market and probably get some better deals when it comes to some of these veteran players. Like, you know what? We can't give you all the money, but if we give you this amount of money and know that we're going to compete and we'll have a chance in the postseason, those are things that you can do if you're the Los Angeles Rams. Because if I'm not mistaken, their core is in place. So they don't need to go out there and rebuild everything. Like, they got standout players at multiple positions, and that is why they have made moves like this. Is they laid a foundation, and then they're able to use their first-round picks on known commodities. You don't know what that first-round pick is going to be. Could it be a good player? yeah, the odds
Could be Jared Goff.
Yeah, and it got you to this point, and you want to take that next step. And Matthew Stafford is a quarterback that feels like still at 32 for the next 2 to 3 years, however how long that he has left on his contract, you have a higher offensive ceiling than you did with Jared Goff. This is what franchises should be doing when you have star players at certain positions, is not get beholden to first-round picks that are nice, but it's still the unknown. Because guess what? Make a good second-round pick. You got Cam Akers. Guess what? Make a good later-round pick. You got Cooper Kupp. Like, you can still survive without first-round picks in this league if you do your job, and the Rams have done that to this point.
All right. We spent a lot of time talking about transfers, Lobo transfers. Jason is here to. He's like
David on the line.
He's the best researcher on our staff, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
He says, "Good morning, OD." So, Jeff, you asked the question about Lobos who leave and have okay careers. So this weekend I watched Creighton play. They're good, by the way. And I saw former Lobo Damian Jefferson help the top 20 Blue Jays to a victory. I then saw former Lobo Uhir Ugwak of Loyola of Chicago be the best player on the floor for his Ramblers, which lead the Missouri Valley Conference. I did not see Vegas Vance get any burn versus Oklahoma State, but he's had an okay season coming off the bench for Arkansas. The common theme is that these players left to play for NCAA tournament teams. After playing pro, players want to be part of March Madness. And being at UNM has not provided that path as of late, and not even to the NIT, CBI, or CIT anymore. Now on to the Aggies. They had a result better than I thought. The Aggies were out of sync. Rice, Henry, and Tillman looked rusty, and that was in both games with 5 minutes left after shooting less than 20% from threes. So defensively, they will be okay. The key going forward is going to be getting in sync offensively, knocking down shots, and integrating Kerr and Watson, who's eligible today, into the rotation. The regular season of the WAC is about seeding, but every year it comes down to 3 days in Vegas. This year is no difference. Crimson Jason. P.S. Here's the issue that should worry Lobo fan. Colorado State, Nevada, Wyoming are young teams, and San Diego State, Boise State, and Utah State have multiple young players making impacts, and they'll be stars with track record of winning and contributing. And then you ask, where are those players for UNM, Air Force, and San Jose State? That should concern Lobo fan. Call, we're with Robert. All right. So there's a lot there. Ugwak is playing well for Loyola. And Jefferson is part of a really, really, really good. Have you watched Creighton at all?
Yeah, Creighton's a good
Creighton's
team.
nice.
And Damian Jefferson, by the way, he still had to go there and develop. He is a very good contributing player this season. Vance Jackson is a tough read. He's playing 14 minutes a game with Arkansas, so he is now a role player in a limited role off the bench for the Razorbacks, but it's because, back to Jason's point, where they transferred to. They transferred to better programs.
Yeah. All right, David, good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Hello, David.
Hello, a couple of things. I don't follow Colorado baseball, but it seems kind of obvious what they're doing. It seems that they're tanking. Didn't the Marlins tank after they win the World Series for whatever reason that owners, general managers can justify? But analysts have said that last year's collective bargaining agreement and lowering salaries combined with this year's changes is kind of something you guys might be missing. Last year, the dispute between players and owners is the owners wanted to cut pay, but the players didn't want that. This year, they're lowering the number of games, but they're not lowering the number of play. It just brings to mind Mike Trout, who ultimately is one of the best supposed highest paid players on a team that goes nowhere. In which case, I don't know if the Rockies are tanking, but if they are, they're like basically saying, okay, we're not going to go anywhere. We're not going to pay this money. We're having to pay salaries anyway. Who cares? And people have wondered if they're actually going to extend the number of teams into the playoffs for another year. Then they're going to say, okay, we're going to get in the playoffs anyway. Who cares?
What are you saying?
So that's point number one. As far as the draft exchange between the Rams, 2 years ago, the Lions analysts said blueprinted how to beat the Rams that year on Thanksgiving Day. The next game that was significantly a blowout to the dismay of Rams fans, was Chicago limited them to 6 points. And ultimately, that play illustrated to the Patriots how to beat the Rams. At that time, I thought, and I am convinced since then, that Lynn's offense was exposed, and if you cut down their play option and force big plays off the table and force Goff to throw, he doesn't go anywhere, meaning you easily beat them. And that's exactly what happened. Stafford makes a much better drop-back passer for the Rams, although I thought he was too expensive. And I think if they were going to go after, what's his name out of Texas? Because
Deshaun Watson.
Apparently, yeah, he was too expensive, but apparently the Broncos tried to get Stafford.
Yes.
And the Broncos thought that this guy out of Detroit was too expensive.
All right.
So at the
thank
very
you,
least,
David.
what they're getting out of it is a better drop-back passer that I think will then prove how good of a coach Lynn actually is.
Yep, they upgraded. Okay, thanks. Who's Lynn? Is he talking about Anthony Lynn, the former Chargers coach? Who's Lynn? Tell me what I'm missing here.
Sean McVay.
Right, that's the Rams coach. Who's Lynn that he kept talking about?
Might have just misspoken.
Okay, that was Anthony Lynn, the former Chargers coach that he was talking about. Different guy, different team, same city. Yeah, I think we all agree that it's a better drop-back passer. What was his first point? What was the first thing he was on?
Well, he's saying the Rockies are tanking.
Okay. Tanking for what? And by the way, if they're cutting salary, they just gave him $50 million. If they're not trying to spend money, they just gave $50 million to help pay for this. And what are they tanking for?
Usually
Tua?
still in a tanking process, you would like some assets in return.
Please?
To start building for the future. And it doesn't look like they got any of those assets, so it's just straight money dump.
Straight money,
that's the
homie.
decision you make, but then you're not selling anything to anyone else.
I don't get so the whole tanking thing. The tanking thing is you're tanking with your eye on the future a couple years down the line to get better, right? Are they tanking for Tua? Are they? It's not like in baseball you're tanking for the best player in the draft.
Tanking for a high draft pick.
Okay, great. And
it's a Houston model. We don't know any of these guys. Like, that's the one thing we really don't know who's considered the best baseball prospects. You just have high picks, and hopefully you hit on an Alex Bregman, a George Springer, and a Carlos Correa.
Okay. No, they didn't get those either. By the way, Did they get any draft picks in this?
Straight salary dump.
Straight cash, homie. Gentlemen, the New Year's now in February. Hope the year's off to a great start. How you feeling? Hopefully you are feeling fantastic, but if you're not, if you're feeling sluggish, you're dealing with fatigue, low energy, low T, erectile dysfunction, you can take care of it. Call New Mail. You can feel like you again. New Mail is the leader in men's health. They are here in Albuquerque, and they have helped thousands of men all around the country feel better. And right now, in these times, what is more important than your health? And I would suggest nothing. Taking care of you, feeling well is a priority, and New Mail makes that possible. Call them today. 505-652-1688. That's 505-652-1688, or visit newmail.com. The whole process is comfortable. The results are absolutely real. From the phone call to your first visit all the way through the treatment, New Mail will be with you. They'll help you take care of low energy, even hair loss or erectile dysfunction. Their testosterone replacement utilizes cutting-edge technology. They are out front when it comes to men's health. Call them at 505-652-1688. Guys, take care of you. Make the call. Visit newmail.com or call 505-652-1688 and you'll feel better.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide coaches award program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Opportunity here. Martinez shoots, he scores. Cut into it. Had some nice looks at the rim. Win. Inside. They're not going to miss this one. Two-hand hammer from Murillo. Ball's played up. Rodriguez with it. Gonna settle. Looks to the inside. Comes to the far side push. Shot on in. Goal. Deflected in. No.
Dorian's going to go all the way. It was blocked by the rim. Get it out, says Kobe Wade. Ramos, got it. Look out. Ramos, can he chase it down? It was a freebie, saved it. And then stolen. And somehow Hasbury's got it back. Handoff. Watson.
Get it stripped. Galeon stripped him. The Highland the other way. Win up top to the big goal. Here he comes.
For the lead. Got it. What a great game plan. Look at this.
Agbayosi throws it down.
Dorian over. Did he get in?
Yeah, they got in. He got
Touchdown, Dorian Lewis.
in. 19 seconds to play. Benavides looking. Still looking up the middle. It's intercepted. It's picked off by Fred.
Coming up a big weekend. 2 giant trades, one in baseball, one in football. Lobo men lose, Lobo women lose, Aggies lose. But there was a celebration, boys and girls. Young Austin Buck, 2 years old. Went by the drive-by, Micah. Big, they own the cul-de-sac. Austin Buck, Austin Buck was out there. 2 years old, man. Now you go into the terrible twos. How were the birthday festivities?
Well, it was a wonderful day. Thank you, Jeff, and thank you to everyone that drove on by. It's actually a great thing to have a cul-de-sac for just that reason. Swing in, say what's up. Just amazing to see people's eyes because, of course, we're playing it safe outside distance, but just to see the eyes and people's faces. I haven't seen in months. Just drive by and say hi, and then you're like, wait, your kids are how old now? And it's, just like 6 months seems like forever when you see some of these your friends and everybody that came on by. It was a wonderful day. Austin made out like a bandit. So once again, thank you to everyone. Good to see you. And I know Austin enjoyed seeing Uncle Jeff for the first time in a long time.
It was good to get out there, and even took my shades off. That was like hat, shades, mask. It's like I pulled up and everybody's looking at me like, who the hell is that? I don't know, man. They don't let those kind of people come around here very often. I pulled up. All right, FBI.
Yeah.
And it was good. All right, happy birthday to Austin. Enjoy the terrible twos. 505-246-0610. What's up, Hoser? How you living?
Hey, I'm living good, man. Living large, baby, and in charge. Well, since we're in the theme of anniversaries and birthdays and just milestones, as the great Edward likes to say, usually he's always telling us about some kind of milestone. Well, over the weekend, it was, of course, it's kind of a sad milestone. It was my 1 year anniversary since I left you guys. But and then it's 1 anniversary for Micah, being on the show with you guys. So, man, it just seems like, it doesn't seem like it's been a year, but, man, it just with the craziness of 2020, Boy, it seems like it's been a long, long time, fellas.
That's cake worthy. Where's Edward? He should be bringing a sheet cake over to Micah.
Burrito, something. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, when we were in studio, I used to. Well, remember when Vital was there in the morning? Like I would do an I buy, you fly, and so he'd walk over to Papa Frank's, and get us all burritos on special occasions.
Yeah.
But
and then that's when you guys started at 8, so there was more,
Yeah.
when we were working, it was like early mornings. I mean, so, burrito places are just getting going about that time.
That's a good point.
time
That's a
we're
good point.
born,
Well,
but
happy
anyway.
1-year anniversary, Micah. That's big.
Yeah.
You're getting another. Micah's going to get like 18 more jobs. And are you
Nice.
sticking around? Have you got any news for us on your first anniversary? You staying?
Oh yeah, I'm here for the long haul.
All right,
No,
dude.
nothing.
Thought he was going the way of the hosers or something. Turned into like a guest host.
Yeah, there you go. Get
Yeah.
promoted
All
when
right.
you leave.
Not the truth.
Well, kind of, I mean,
Yeah, that's funny.
anyway,
All right,
fellas,
man.
good to see you or hear you, and good job. Happy birthday to Austin Buck. Boy, that man, you brought out a classic song right there with Baby Buck. Boy, I love that.
Yeah, that's right.
Good times.
All right. Good.
All right,
best
man.
to your
Stay
family.
safe.
See you. 1 year, man. Seems like 6.
It does. It is one of those years.
It's
That's
crazy.
one of those things. Like, congratulations, Micah, and sorry, Hoser.
Hoser,
Right?
like,
What do I
mean,
say?
Yeah, thanks
Sorry,
for leaving.
Have your job, Hoser, but
Well, you
yeah,
didn't take
me.
his job. Look, man. That's one of those things, man. You didn't take his job. You applied for a job. It wasn't his. He left. Somebody had to get it. You don't have to feel bad. I'm glad it's you. Like I'm really glad it's you. So.
At least I think.
I know. Have they ever told you yet you're permanent, or are you still kind of a temporary?
Own it. Take ownership of it.
I'm just still the temp.
You're still the temp.
It's been a year. I'm still the temp.
That feels about right. That feels right. Terry said, "Pandemic, poor season, higher ticket prices." He said, that'd be the greatest sales job in the century. To convince Lobo fans to pay more for Lobo basketball season tickets, have to be a heck of a big-name coach to buy into that. Next biggest sales job, convincing Rocky fans that trade was in the fans' best interest. No need to keep a great player on the team. And then he said, P.S. on drunk caller, since Lance called in sounding very sober, David called in filling the void of the OD and the AM, having an intoxicated caller make an appearance. I don't know if that's right. I mean, if that's how it came off to Terry, then that's how it came off to Terry. But not encouraging
2 minutes.
Intoxicated driving, or calling, I mean, by the way. Goodness gracious. All right, it's Super Week, man. But it's going to be a weird Super Week. No Super Media Days, no all of the stuff that goes around it. It's like everything else. It's Bizarro World.
I think players probably enjoy it more. Kansas City has already talked about how, all right, they've been there, done that, had the full experience last year, and they're looking forward to just doing their job, working at home, later arrival to Tampa to just focus on the game.
No Tom Brady marriage proposals, nothing?
Nope.
It's bizarre, man. I mean, it is what it is. Are you leaning a certain way yet on the Super Bowl? I'm not asking for it yet, but yeah, I am too.
I'm leaning.
Yeah, I am. I am leaning. It's going to take a lot to get me back over, I think. I'm leaning against the way I'm rooting. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Are you guys both the same way?
No.
Micah is.
Yep. No, I feel you.
Right? It's like that's why I don't bet the game so often.
It's like, gosh, I want them to win, but no.
Almost like the Rams game. I just going into Green Bay. It's like, gosh, I'd love to see the Rams win, but there's no way. So kind of feel that same way. All right, good stuff today. Micah, nice beanie. Good work today. Happy anniversary to you. One day we'll have
1
cake.
year.
J-Pole, Josh, you can rewatch the show and their work on Comcast Channel 26 at 3 o'clock today. Watch us every day over on their YouTube page. ProView Networks are on our Facebook page, the OD and the AM. Jim Rome Show is next. Dan Patrick Show's after that. Sports Bar with Trullo and Carlisle at 3. JJ, enjoy your 2-year-old.
I will, and I'm going to go try to
1
find
day.
some of my old Pokemon cards while I'm at it.
Ooh, that's the truth. All right, be good to each other. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Be kind, loving, caring, and sharing. We'll smell you tomorrow.
Dear winner,
Pavia's looking, and he's got a guy wide open, and it's Gay, and he's gonna walk into the end zone. But he did a good job with it. First and goal, it's Chavez to the middle, and Chavez stops.
Stevens in motion. On the handoff to Mitchell. Look out! Oh, see you later. Take it to the house. Fly. Cardinals fly. To the other side. Provide some protection. And off to Webskowski again. Look out. See you later. Good night. Touchdown. Webskowski. All day. He's going to fire to the end zone. Open man! Touchdown! Wildcats! Not a defender inside.
A little bit.
Kowski on the sideline! Hasta mañana! He's off to the races! Touchdown! Clovis!
Albuquerque this afternoon.
34-24, Rancho, late in the third. How about this run? Nice play. Dickerman, he's still on his feet. Touchdown, Wolverine!
Exactly what they want to get yards.
He's going to go for it. He's got a guy towards the end zone. It's grabbed. Touchdown. What a play.
And long here for the Storm. Handoff to, we're going to fake the handoff, excuse me. Davidson on the deep ball. He's got some space, and it's caught. Still on his feet. Touchdown, Storm. Wow. Santa Maria.
And so they'll send one deep and returnable at the 2. Usually Volcano do either a reverse or a fake reverse, and here it is a reverse. And a move to the outside. There is a lane. Look out! Shot out of a cannon. Rodriguez is going to take it all the way.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.